Hello. Hi guys. Welcome to the live stream. Today we start the ninth chapter of Manusmriti, written by Raja Manu, a Kshatriya who apparently wrote a book of Brahmanical hegemony, and if followed, a book which will make the lives of Brahmins a living hell. Today we start a chapter discussing the duties of husband and wife. And let me know if the audio is fine in the comment section. Atha Navamodhyaya. Duties of husband and wife. Abhay Agarwal is here. Jai Shri Ram. Just put this here so that my book doesn't get too many scratches on the hardcover. Rohan Shatra, yes, Brahmanical patriarchy. जिसमें ब्राह्मण का पेट्री भी गया आर्की भी गया. Okay, so the first shloka says in Atha Navamodhyaya, duties of husband and wife. Raja Manu says, "Now I shall discourse on the eternal laws of the husband and wife who keep to the path of dharma or duty, whether they live together or separated." The audio is fine. Okay, thanks. The father who does not give his daughter in marriage at the right age, Matu, is reprehensible, and the husband who does not approach his wife during her season is reprehensible. After the death of her husband, the son who does not protect and look after her is reprehensible. After the death of her husband, the son who does not protect the mother and look after her is reprehensible. The women shall be specially protected even from the slightest evil inclinations, because if they are not guarded, they will certainly bring sorrow on two families. Considering it the highest duty, the husbands shall endeavor to protect their wives, even if they themselves are weak. The protection of women of all varnas is indeed the highest duty. Okay, let's see what the shlok says. Imam hi sarva varnanam pashyanto dharma muttamam yatante rakshitum bharyam bhartato durbala api. So you see, no one can say that the translator was making up his own sanitized version of these shlokas, because the original shloka itself says sarva varnanam. So all women of all varnas are supposed to be protected at all costs. Okay. Indeed, by carefully protecting his wife from bad inclinations, a man preserves the conduct of his own progeny, the purity of his family and himself, and even his own dharma. The husband, by entering his wife, that is after conception, becomes the embryo and is born here in this world. And indeed, that is the womanhood of the wife, that he is born again by her. Yes, this we had discussed in History of Indian Philosophy as well, that the son is considered to be a rebirth of the father. The way the wife receives her husband, indeed, even so a child is born. Therefore, for the purity of the progeny, the man shall protect his wife assiduously. And you can see these things are the basics of any upbringing as well. How the mother treats the husband will be how the children treat the husband and the father, and how the husband treats the wife will be how the children see the mother and all women in general. Most guys who beat up their girlfriends on the streets, those chapris, their parents, their fathers beat up their mothers as well. No man can completely by force protect the women from bad inclinations, but by applications of the following expedients, the women can be protected. Interesting. So, don't protect the women by force. The husband shall entrust his wife the responsibilities and duties of collecting and spending the money, and employ her to maintain the cleanliness of the house, and in the fulfillment of the religious duties like daily samdhya, agnihotra, svadhyaya, etc., and the preparation of food, and the safeguard of the household furnitures, clothes, utensils, and other objects. Can you see, this paragraph basically explains Indian society, Indian Hindu family for the last 6,000 years, up until even our parents' generation, and for a lot of people even in our generation. So you see, again, we follow Manusmriti unknowingly a lot of times. We have hardly read Manusmriti. We like to hate it because some random scholar with a big red bindi told us that Manusmriti is evil. But everyone follows Manusmriti in their homes anyway. Rana. Hello ji, namaskar, namaskar. Okay. So women who are guarded at home by the trustworthy persons, like let me read this paragraph once again just for the fun of it. The husband. So how to prevent the woman from going astray or them having a path or inclination towards evil, not by force, not by telling them that hey, don't do it, don't do this, just by giving them responsibilities which are beneficial to the home. The husband shall entrust his wife the responsibilities and duties of collecting and spending the money. It's exactly what happens in the Hindu family. And employ her to maintain the cleanliness of the house and in the fulfillment of the religious duties like daily samdhya, agnihotra, svadhyaya, etc. and the preparation of food and the safeguard of the household furnitures, clothes, utensils and other objects. Women who are guarded at home by the trustworthy persons like the father, the mother, the elders, the husband, etc. are not guarded, but they who themselves guard their purity and dignity are in fact protected. Drinking of wine, etc., keeping bad company and separation from the husband for a longer period, idle rambling, sleeping or residing at others' house. These are the 6 causes that defile a woman. Thus has been declared the rule of worldly conduct for the husband and the wife, which is always auspicious for a righteous living. Now hear the rule governing the children, which are the cause of happiness here in this world, and even after death. O men, women are great blessings because they bear children and they are worthy of worship, the light of the house and the fortune of the family. There is no difference between Shriya, that is auspiciousness, Shri, beauty, wealth, and women. There's no difference between these things. It's all the same. Auspiciousness, beauty, wealth, and women. O men, the woman is visibly the cause for the production of children and their bringing up and for the daily duties of the household in this worldly journey. Giving birth to children, the fulfillment of the religious duties, to serve faithfully, to be blessed by the highest love and the happiness of oneself and that of the elders in the family, indeed greatly depend on the wife alone. Now listen to the interesting teaching. Okay, only people who could disagree with this are 2 kinds of people. One who would ignore that it was a pre-industrialization society where physical might and physical strength was everything, and so most of the household duties had to be the responsibility of the woman, because the man had to go out and do more physically demanding things. And secondly, feminists would disagree with this tone of argument, and they would say that family is useless. They actively want to break down the concept of the family, and then they will have a society like USA where everyone's almost divorced, or they have kids at 45 and every kid is autistic, or they are depressed from the day they are born, and they are heavily on drugs provided by therapists legally or illegally from their friends, and then they keep going out to schools and shoot their schools up. That's the society feminists would recommend, as opposed to this. Now listen to the interesting teaching which is for the good of the world, and which the virtuous men and the ancient seers have said about the procreation of a son. It is said that the male child belongs to the husband, but the sacred texts hold different views about the term bhartari, I don't know how to pronounce it. Bhartu putram vigyananti shruti vaidham tu bhartari. It is said that the male child belongs to the husband, but the sacred texts hold different views about the term bhartari. Some say that the son belongs to the husband, whereas others declare that the son belongs to the lord of the soil, that is, the husband of the wife, though the begetter may be someone else. Okay. So, they are leaving out an option for second marriages or even bastard children, because they are saying that the biological father does not have to be the father all the time. Even the father who is basically doing the palan, even that father can be considered the actual father. The woman is said to be the soil, field, and the man is said to be the seed, and the existence of all corporeal beings take place through the union of the soil and the seed. Those processing the seed and who are not owners of the field, that is the soil, if they sow their seeds into the field of another owner, in any case they cannot be entitled to the benefit of the crop raised therefrom. Okay, yeah, so if someone had a child with a woman out of wedlock, then that man has no right or authority over the children born from that relationship. If no prior agreement has been made between the owner of the field and the owner of the seed regarding the crop, that is, who is going to benefit from it, then in that case, the benefit clearly belongs to the owner of the field, because the field is more important than the seed. Yes. But where an agreement has been made regarding the act of sowing and giving of the soil, then here in this world it is certainly considered that the crop belongs to the sower of the seed and the owner of the soil. They are both sharers to the crop. Okay. In case where agreement has been made regarding sowing and giving of the soil. Okay, so even there's a leeway, there's a flexibility for people who do end up having kids out of wedlock. Okay, that's how progressive the fascist Manusmriti was. That they are saying that if they had talked among themselves and had a prior agreement that yes, we are going to I'm going to be the one responsible for raising this child, then that option is also open. Thus, the preeminence of the seed and the soil has been promulgated to you. Now I shall next discourse on the dharma and law governing the woman in times of misfortune, that is, when there is failure of issues. The wife of an elder brother is declared to be like the wife of a guru for the younger brother, but the wife of a younger brother is considered to be the daughter-in-law of the elder brother. Except in misfortune, that is, when there is failure of issues, where the elder brother or the younger brother approaches the wife of the other for procreation, there they become degraded. On failure of issues, the woman who is duly authorized and in the proper manner may obtain the desired offspring by cohabitation with either the younger brother of her husband or with a man of the varna of her husband, or a sapinda, that is, with an excellent man of a higher varna, or with a man who is not from the 6th generation of the family of the husband. Okay, refer also to Satyarth Prakash chapter 4, Rigveda and 10:18 verse 8, and also Rigveda 10:10. But after the accomplishment of the act of niyoga for the sake of procreation on the widow, the two shall behave accordingly, that is, the wife of the elder brother shall be looked at as the Gurupatni and the wife of the younger brother as a daughter-in-law, that is, they should maintain a respectful relation. The two, that is, the elder brother or the younger brother, who is duly appointed for the niyoga, if thereafter shall transgress the prescribed rules and shall act out of carnal desires, then both of them shall become degraded for having committed the sin of defiling the bed of a daughter-in-law or that of the wife of the guru. So, if the woman is duly authorized, whose husband has died, and they after duly authorized means maybe the affirmation of a local priest or something, then they can approach and say, I want offspring, so let's have sex. Other than that, there's supposed to be no carnal desires. That sex is supposed to be just as performance of a duty to have an offspring. Other than that, the relationship is going to go back to being that of daughter-in-law or the wife of a guru, because procreation was important back then, as it is important now, but some people have misinformation about population dynamics. If the future husband of the maiden dies after the engagement, that is, where promise for marriage has been made, then the younger brother shall marry her according to these rules. A man in business shall arrange and secure a maintenance for his wife before going abroad, because a wife, though she is virtuous, may be corrupted by want of subsistence, when there's a need for subsistence and she's not getting it. If the husband has secured a living for his wife before going abroad, the wife shall live by abiding to the rules of propriety. But if the husband has departed without arranging for her subsistence, even then she shall live by doing any blameless manual works of art and craft. The wife shall wait for 8 years for her husband who has gone abroad for some sacred duty, and she must wait for 6 years if he has gone for study or for acquiring fame. But she shall wait for 3 years if he has gone for earning wealth. Okay. As for years, any depiction of time might not be fully trustable, because I don't know if the minutes, seconds and days and years were the same as the counting periods in the times of when Manusmriti was written. The husband shall wait for 1 year for the hostile wife, and after the 1 year, if she has not changed, then he shall take from her the property, jewels, etc. he has given to her, and he shall cease to cohabit with her. So instead of alimony, he's supposed to take back what he has given her. The wife who shall show disrespect to her husband for his carelessness or addiction to some evil passion or for his sickness, she shall be deserted for 3 months and deprived of her ornaments and clothes. The wife, she's supposed to take care of her husband when he is addicted to some evil passion or his sickness and carelessness. The wife who shows aversion to her husband because he is insane, degraded, is an eunuch, seedless, that is, cannot procreate, or is afflicted with a sinful disease, shall not be deserted, nor shall be deprived of any property given to her by the husband, because in this case, the wife is not to blame. Nice. Flexibility and nuance. She who becomes a drunkard is of bad conduct, rebellious, and is invalid, is hot-tempered, or is always spendthrift. She may be superseded by another wife. A barren wife may be superseded in the 8th year, a wife whose children die in infancy in the 10th year, and a wife who gives birth only to girls in the 11th year, but a quarrelsome wife who is harshly tongued without delay. भागो वहां से. A good wife who is kind to her husband and virtuous in good conduct. A good wife who is kind to her husband and virtuous in good conduct, if she is afflicted by an incurable disease, then with her consent, the husband may remarry, but under no circumstances she is to be neglected. But if after the remarriage of the husband the first wife shall leave the house in anger, she shall be confined in the house or cast off, that is, sent to her father's family. But if the wife, even though forbidden by her husband, drinks wine at dancing parties, festivals, marriages, etc., or attends public assemblies, etc., she shall be punished 6 Krishnalas. It's a small fine, but it is a fine. The father shall give his daughter in marriage according to the prescribed rule to that suitor who is distinguished, handsome, and is of similar qualities to her, and who is not within the 6 generations of the mother of that girl. This is exactly opposite of what happened in the Middle Eastern countries even before Islam came about. The entire Pharaoh family used to marry siblings among themselves, and the siblings used to marry their siblings. So it was all basically your parents are your sisters and your children are also your sisters and brothers. Better wish that the girl who has attained puberty, that is, she is of marriageable age, to stay at the house of her father until death, rather than giving her to a man who is destitute of good qualities. This we had discussed even in the beginning introduction sections of the Manusmriti, that it's good if she remains unmarried. It's still better than giving her off to some evil man. Shravya Amini is saying, were they girls or nice discussion going on here. Let me read a bit of comments here. The kind of cases I'm reading about in matrimonies nowadays are really worrying. It will destroy Hindu society. Yes, matrimony sites are pretty crazy. Abhinay Singh is saying, I read a news column today how 2 BJP party supporters were forced to convert to Islam. Kahan pe? 2 of this channel subs are from Mumbai. Only thing is they don't see live stream of the other channel. West Bengal is Bangladesh light. Almost yes. Light बोलना भी बंद कर देना पड़ेगा कुछ दिन में. Okay. A good girl who has attained puberty shall wait for 3 years, and after that time she shall choose for herself a bridegroom who is of equal qualities. The girl shall choose. Let's see what's the shloka. Trini varshanyu dikshita kumariyurtumati sati urdhvam tu kala detashmad vindeta sadrisham patim. Sadrisham patim, one who is like her. A girl who is not given in marriage at the right age by the father. Okay, let me check the translations. For 3 years shall wait, after time shall choose. Oh, vindeta shall choose. Okay, so even here the translator is not making things up out of his mind. The actual shloka says that the girl shall choose. A girl who is not given in marriage at the right age by the father, if she shall herself seek a husband and shall marry him, then neither she nor the husband shall incur any sin. Nice. So if the father was being irresponsible and not setting up the marriage and stuff, if the girl chooses the husband on her own, in that case the girl, neither her husband, incur any sin. It's fine, it's fair. Women were created to conceive, that is to be mothers, and men were created to impregnate, that is to be fathers. Wow. Parental duties is at the forefront of this civilization, and which is why it succeeded. Therefore, from this it should be learnt that each one of them is the better half of the other, and therefore all common sacred duties should be performed together by the husband and the wife. This is said in the Vedas. There shall be mutual fidelity between them until death. Know this as the summary of the highest dharma for the wife and the husband. The married woman and the married man shall constantly so endeavor as to not violate their mutual fidelity and never be separated from each other. Okay, now division of inheritance. Let's see if we find any controversial things here, because so far the only controversial thing I have found here, which I can justify in a way, but the only controversial thing I've found in this chapter so far is that you can abandon your wife if after 11 years of marriage she has not delivered a son, which would be pretty, let's say, pretty impossible. Only a fraction of women might end up never having a son even in 11 years. But even then, if they don't have a son, then it's a problem because they are going to get abandoned. And that's something controversial mentioned in Manusmriti. Then, of course, the question comes that how many in India do actually follow Manusmriti heart to heart? They follow only some customs. They don't follow what the Brahman is supposed to be doing. They don't follow what the Kshatriya is supposed to be doing. They don't follow how the Upanayana Samskara is supposed to be done. They don't follow how a person is supposed to become a Dvija. So why should I assume that everyone in India in the Hindu civilization followed this evil recommendation? So anyway, this is definitely controversial. Let's see now division of inheritance. I have thus declared to you the law about conjugal happiness and duties for the wife and the husband, and also about the raising of offspring in times of distress. Now learn from me the laws regarding the division of inheritance. After the death of their mother and the father, the brothers shall meet and divide the paternal estate into equal shares among themselves for a while they, that is, the parents, are living. Certainly the sons cannot be the lords thereof, that is, they have no right of worship. Or the eldest son shall take the whole paternal estate, and the other brothers shall certainly so live under him, just as they live under their father while he was alive. Where they agree to live in a joint family, there the eldest brother shall maintain the younger brothers just like a father who cares for his sons. So what we can always know from history is that any time, any text, any constitution, rule book, religious text, anything, what ends up happening is that people always get to the rights part and leave out and ignore all the duties section. It happens even in today's society. सबको rights चाहिए, liberty चाहिए, equality चाहिए, किसी को duties नहीं चाहिए, fraternity नहीं चाहिए. That eldest brother, see here, someone can interpret these things from Manusmriti and become the evil elder brother who oppresses his younger brothers and sisters, but they won't follow this portion, maybe that he is supposed to look after their his brothers and sisters just like a father would. That eldest brother who behaves as an eldest brother ought to do shall be like a father and a mother. But if he does not behave as an eldest brother, then he shall be honored and treated like a friend. Okay, even that's an option. Nice. This is beautiful nuance that, okay, even if you don't want to be that responsible father figure, just be a friend. Cool. Thus, the brothers may live together or they may live separately for the sake of dharma, because dharma increases when brothers live separately. That is, they earn spiritual merits by performing their own panchamaha yagyas. Okay. Hence, separate living is meritorious. But again, now a modern day liberal might say, yes, see, joint family is not even recommended in Manusmriti. In fact, Manusmriti says that living separately is better. But the caveat to that is that that's only better because they are supposed to do their own panchamaha yagyas in their day-to-day lives. Otherwise not. After having lived together and maintained by the eldest brother for some time, and then if the brothers decide to live separately, then 1/20th part of the additional paternal estate and the best articles, objects, etc. shall be for the eldest brother, 1/2 of that for the middlemost, that is, for the second brother, but the 4th part of that shall be for the youngest. Thus the allotment of a share of the additional property shall be made, and then the remaining shall be shared equally among the brothers. But if the additional property is not allotted, then the allotment of their shares will be made like this, that is, as follows. The eldest son shall take one additional share of the property, and the son born after him shall take 1 and 1.5 of that, whereas the younger ones shall take 1 part each. Thus, the law regarding the allotment of shares is settled. The brothers shall give from their share the brothers shall give from their share 1/4 part to their unmarried sisters, but if they shall not give them from their share, then they shall become degraded in their life. Okay, here's the myth busting of no women not getting any inheritance in Hindu law. Here's the reality. The brothers shall give from their share 1/4 part to their unmarried sisters, but if they shall not give them from their share, then they shall become degraded in life. In the division of animals like the goat, the sheep, and the other beasts with uncloven hoofs, after the equal sharing, if a single goat, sheep, etc. remains, then it should not be divided. The one remaining is certainly prescribed for the elder son. If ever the younger brother begets a son by niyoga, that is, on appointment on the wife of the elder brother, there, in that circumstance, the son born by niyoga is entitled to an equal share of property. Thus is the law settled. A son begotten on the wife of the elder brother by niyoga is not considered the son of the elder brother, because the father is the principal in respect of procreation. Therefore, according to the law, that son shall not get an equal share and not an excess share as the first son of a father is entitled to. A father who has no son shall make the son of his appointed daughter the heir to his property. Okay, a father who has no son shall make the son of his appointed daughter the heir to his property in the following manner, that is, he shall declare to his son-in-law that the son to be born of my daughter shall provide for my subsistence and maintenance in my old days, and therefore shall be my heir. Certainly, a son is oneself, and so is the daughter. That is, both are equal, and while the daughter is living, how anyone shall take the property of the father? Okay. And while the daughter is living, how can anyone take the property of the father? This is also mentioned in Nirukta Shukta. Yathaivatma tatha putra putrena duhita sama tasya matmani tishtantyam kathamanyo dhanam haret. Okay. That says that son is oneself and so is the daughter. That is, both are equal, and while the daughter is living, how can anyone take the property of the father? But the maiden property, that is, the property given to a daughter on the occasion of marriage by the father or the brother, shall be for her alone, and the grandfather who has no son, his grandson, that is, the son of his appointed daughter, shall take his whole property. But if a son born to the father after he has appointed his daughter as putrika, then there in that case, the share, son is born after the father after he has appointed his daughter as putrika. Then there in that case, the share of the property shall be equal, that is, the son of the daughter and his own son shall share his property equally. Certainly, a woman is not like the eldest born son who gets a preferential share in the property of his father, because the son delivers the mother and the father from hell, that is, the sufferings that come along with old age. The self-existent God has himself called the son Putra, that is, one who is the deliverer from Put, Trata from hell. Okay, so Putra means one who delivers a person from hell. Hell's Put means hell. Okay, I never knew this. So Trata from hell is Putra. Here, hell does not mean a place of torture as is mentioned in other religions. It is a term used for sufferings on earth. Yes, and this is what Christian apologetics like Jordan Peterson today say, that hell is not a place that you go to after death. Hell is not underground. Hell is suffering on earth. That's what Manusmriti is recommending anyway. Okay, Aniket Gautam is saying, in our family tradition, brothers give their property to their sisters' children at the time of marriage. This is known as bhat. I see. Agarwal is saying bhat bharna. Oh yeah, bhat bharna. Right. Okay. Agarwal is saying more than procreation, ghar wapsi is the solution. So what does putri mean? Just the female version of that? यस, बिकॉज पुत्रा का फीमेल वर्डिंग ही तो पनिनी ने ऐसा ही कुछ सूत्र दिया होगा, सब कुछ क्या लास्ट में ई डाल दो तो वो फीमेल वर्जन हो गया. The man whose adopted son, so basically the children are the people who deliver them from deliver the parents from hell. But there's obviously a logical fallacy here, because then if a putri is just the word for the male version, female version of the word putra, then even she can deliver the parents from hell, deliver and prevent the suffering of the parents. But the problem is that, again, a pre-industrial society where physical might is everything. So that's why the son is obviously more capable to deliver the parent from suffering, and not, as more than the daughter. The man whose adopted son is possessed of all the good qualities of a son, that same son shall certainly take his whole property, though he is brought from another family. Adoption का कितना glorification है यहाँ पे, इतना fascism कहाँ पे रखूँ? The son born from an appointed woman is like the legitimate son of her husband, and he shall inherit the property of the latter, because he was born according to the law, and in that circumstances the seed and the produce belongs to the owner of the soil. He who indeed takes care of the property and the wife of his deceased brother, who died leaving no heir, he shall procreate a son for his brother on the person of that widow, and he shall give to him the property of his father. That woman who is not appointed for niyoga, if she bears a son to the younger brother of her deceased husband, or from someone else of her own varna, or from another man, that son who is born out of lust has no share in the paternal property and is declared to be produced in vain. If she has gone and does, this is also pretty universal concept, which is why bastard is a gali in the first place. If she has gone and deserted her husband, then shall return to him, or even if she has chosen another husband after deserting the first one, then she is worthy to have her vivaha samskara performed again, if she be still a virgin. Acha. This is obviously would be happen in a rare case. But when the mother has died, all the uterine brothers and the sisters, biological brothers and sisters, shall divide equally the maternal property. Those who are the grandfathers of their mother, a person's grandfather of their mother. Okay, those who are the granddaughters. Those who are the granddaughters of their mother, even they also shall be given affectionately a little share from the property of their grandmother, as is worth for them. The property of the woman is said to be of 6 kinds, namely: 1. Given before nuptial fire; 2. Given by the father during the bridal procession, that is, when she leaves the parental home for the house of her husband; 3. Gifts given to her on festive occasions, and those received from her brother, her mother, and her father. Okay. Check some comments. Parakram Divya Singh, I am sure Putri means the same thing, as Sanskrit takes etymology very seriously, otherwise they would have coined a different term. Yes, it means the same thing. Abhay Agarwal is saying property is not given nowadays, but gifts like sari, suit piece, odni, kurta, pajama, money, and other gifts are given to the children of the sisters. Yeah. Rohan Shatra is saying next month panchayat election is there in West Bengal. Mamta will create havoc here to not let go of the panchayat seats from her grab. Yes. That property of the woman which she gets subsequent to the nuptial ceremony, and that which is given out of love by her husband to her, if she dies and is survived by her husband, shall be the heritage of her offspring. ये गिफ्ट दिया था मगर वो मर गई. The property which she has received during either any one of the vivaha samskaras, namely Brahma, Deva, Arsha, or the Prajapatya, which were the different kinds of marriages, if she dies without issue, without offspring, then the husband shall certainly take the wealth. And that property which is given to her during the Asura and the other blamable vivahas, Asura and the other blamable vivahas are when she is kidnapped and forced to marry the person who kidnapped her. In those cases, blamable vivahas, that wealth shall go to her mother and her father if she dies without an offspring. The mother and father of the wife, of the girl. The women shall not try to make a hoard of expense of wealth from the property which belongs to many relations of their family. and indeed from the wealth of their husband without their knowledge. Okay, without their knowledge ये hoarding नहीं करना है. The ornaments which are worn by the women during the lifetime of their husband, after the death of their husband, their heirs shall not divide them among themselves. Those who divide and appropriate them shall be considered degraded. Okay, I see. The ornaments which are worn by the women during the lifetime of their husband, so after the death of that husband, their heirs shall not divide those ornaments among themselves. Those who divide and appropriate them shall be considered degraded. This is problem. The eunuchs and the degraded, and those who are born blind or deaf, and also the insane, the idiot and the dumb, and those who are deficient in any organ, and the physically disabled, shall receive no shares, because they would not be able to manage them. Okay, now let's see what are the words for these things, because yesterday someone was asking what are some galis in ancient Hindu texts. Let's see if these can be considered gali, because these are the translations for these words, but we don't know if they were used as galis. So let's see. Anansho Kliba Patito. Okay, Kliba plus Patito means the eunuchs and the degraded. Kliba. Jati Andha Baghiro, born blind or deaf. Andha, blind, deaf is Baghiro. Okay, Tatha Unmatta Jada Mukha Cha, the insane, the idiot and the dumb. Unmatta, Jada and Mukha. Okay, Kechit Nirindriya, deficient in any organ. Okay, Anansho is physically disabled. I see. Unansho, so one without a portion. Angsh means obviously a portion. But the learned man who is well versed in the law shall give even to all of them according to justice and his ability. That is, according to the resources available, food, clothes, etc. throughout their life. He who shall not give shall be indeed considered degraded. Okay, I'll have to check the shloka for this. Sarve shamapi tu nyayam datam shaktya manishina. Okay, now a huge word. Grasachadana matyantam patito yaded bhavet. Okay, so in general, the children who are born deformed or crazy, etc., they are not supposed to get property, but the learned man who is well versed in the law shall give evenly to all of them according to justice and his ability. That is, according to the resources available, that is food, clothes, etc., throughout their life. Okay, that is, he should take care of them. They should not be abandoned just because they are born that way. They are not going to get property after their death, but they are definitely going to be taken care of. But if the eunuchs and the others somehow wish to marry, then the offsprings of such among them shall be entitled to a share of the property, as these children are worthy to receive their share in the property of their parents. Okay, so eunuchs had marriage rights basically. So we don't need any commie with a blue hair to teach us trans rights. So let's see what eunuchs are called and how they were getting marriage rights. Yadyarthita tu darai syatkli badinam kathanchana tesha mut pannatantunan mapatyam Tyaya marhati. Let's see which one is okay. Klida badinam, the eunuchs and others. Okay, if they wish to get married, then they can have their children can have the property. The wealth which is acquired by one's skill or knowledge, the wealth which is obtained in marriage, the wealth obtained from a friend, and also the wealth acquired with the honey, that is mixture, that is with the madhuparka, shall certainly be for him who receive it. But that brother who is able to maintain himself by his own occupation and does not wish to have a share in the family property, he may be made separate by the other brothers, and each one shall give him a trifle from his own share for him to live upon. Okay, this is interesting. A brother who is able to maintain himself by his own occupation and does not want a portion of the family share, even that brother has the permission to live separately, but at the same time, even then, the other brothers are going to have to give him some portion as just to help him sustain. Okay, you don't want the property, you want to live separately, fine, and even then we'll give you some portions of the property, some portions of our own earnings. This is interesting. What one has earned by hard work, without using the paternal property, that self-acquired wealth, if he has no wish to share it, he is not obliged to do so. Okay, this part will be hated by commies. If a father recovers an ancestral property which has not been inherited and which was lost, shall not divide it with his sons, if he has no wish to do so, because the ancestral property is self-acquired. If the brothers who if a father recovers an ancestral property which has not been inherited and which was lost, shall not divide it with his sons, if he has no wish to do so, because the ancestral property is self-acquired. If the brothers who live jointly had proceeded with the division and later they agreed to live together, then if again they make a second division, there in that circumstance, the share in the common property shall be equal. There shall not be any consideration for a preferential share for the eldest. Ab eldest brother ka powers gaya. If they decide to live separately, then they decide to live together. Then again, the elder brother says that I want to live separately. Tab usko equal share lena padega, no preferential treatment. Harshavi is saying proud Manuwadi. Those Muslims use their OBC quota and join West Bengal police through recruitments. Yes, there's about West Bengal police, I think, has about 35% Muslims now. Yeah, Bengal administration, though I don't know about, that means I don't know exactly the data about that, but police is definitely Islamized. No one's going to save you even if Hindu-Muslim riots happen. If at the time of division, the eldest or the youngest brother was not present and thus was deprived of his share even if he dies, or in any other case, for example, if as an ascetic, sadhu, leaves the paternal home, his share is not lost, it goes to his wife and sons. If he has neither a wife nor any children, then all the biological brothers and sisters and also the step brothers, if any, shall assemble and divide that share of the property equally among themselves. That eldest brother who out of greed defrauds the shares of the younger brothers, he shall not be honored as the eldest, and he shall be deprived of any preferential share. He shall be punished by the king. See, this is what we had just discussed, that people might take out only the rights part of Manusmriti and ignore the duties part. And actually, Manusmriti itself makes the separate nuance for that as well, that yes, some people might end up doing that. Just take away their rights. Don't even consider them the elder brother in that case. The elder brother has no option or right, neither moral nor legal right to oppress his younger brothers and sisters. Then he's punishable by the king in that case. Shravyamin is saying, what's the views of Hindus in Bengal on Didi's recent comments? They are happy that she's standing up to Hindu fascism. Harshravi, bro, I'm already depressed after reading JSD's second book and Savarkar volume 2. Don't make any situation worse. Ore baapre, India, Bharat, Pakistan mein jo likha hai. Bengalis have to read India, Bharat, Pakistan. I've kept saying that, but obviously most Bengalis haven't read. Most Indians even haven't read it. So far, only 32,000 copies of this book has sold. But in a perfect world, Bengalis should have read India, Bharat, Pakistan in every home, but they haven't. Unknowingly, India, Bharat, Pakistan is probably one of the most important histories of modern Bengal that you can write. Deepak has made such a book. But Bengalis are not going to read it, so they are doomed. Save yourselves. If the brothers living together... I missed this. Certainly among the brothers, those who are engaged in forbidden acts are not worthy to receive a share in the ancestral property, and the eldest brother shall not make a separate property for himself without giving the legitimate share to the younger brothers. See, always in Arthashastra Manusmriti, I've noticed that 90%, 99% of the time, there's a beautiful system of checks and balances. Anytime someone seems to have a magical superpower and super right, immediately after a few pages, you read that how many checks are there on that person. As we have known, one thing you can guarantee after hearing my live streams on Manusmriti is that Manusmriti can be interpreted easily as an anti-Brahmin book as much as you can propagate it as an anti-Shudra book, That much is a guaranteed thing. But now even in the context of elder brothers, you see, elder brothers ko sab dena hai. And now you see checks after checks after checks for elder brothers, what their conduct is supposed to be. then you may think all the commies, what they will say is that so much rights for brahmanas ko ye karne dena hai, brahmanas ko ye right hai, and then you see what the brahmana is supposed to live like, what he's supposed to do after his son is born, or his skin becomes droopy, or his hair grows gray. He's supposed to live, he's supposed to leave his home, live in the forest, not even ask for alms, bhiksha, which is plowed in the fields. He is not supposed to be a burden on the society at all. So you see, this is just a system of checks and balances, and obviously there's a hierarchy here. If someone blindly disagrees with the concept of hierarchy, then it's fair game for that person, and that person hating Manusmriti, I have no problem with that person, because that person is basically crazy, and they are disagreeing with the fact that hierarchies are inevitable. But someone who would say that yes, there are hierarchies in society, some people, some professions are more important than other professions, if such a person comes and tells you that Manusmriti is evil, then that person needs to be countered. That person is basically lying or has not read the Manusmriti. If the brothers living together with their father make an exertion to earn wealth, then on no account the father shall give them unequal shares in the property. Okay, if the brothers living together with their father make an exertion to earn wealth, then on no account the father shall give them unequal shares in the property. But if a son is born to the father after the partitioning of the property, then he shall take the property of the father. However, if any of those brothers are reunited with the father and they are living together, then the father shall share his property equally among them. If a son who has no wife and no issue dies, then his mother shall inherit his property. And if the mother also is no more, then the grandmother shall take his property. After all the debts and assets have been duly distributed according to the rule, if ever any debt or property is discovered afterwards, then the brothers shall divide equally among themselves. And this is the biggest check of all. If there is so much nuance and complex of a situation that अच्छा अब ये क्या करे, बार बार अगर मनुस्मृति खोलना पड़ रहा है to settle a situation, in such a case just distribute it equally. That is the go-to backup position in all cases in this context. Okay. Okay, now we start laws on gambling in under the section of duties of husband and wife. Okay, let me check some comments before that. Binay Singh, I just saw a video of Acharya Prashant with doctrinated woke girl discussing Hindu patriarchy. Even Acharya Prashant gave up on that girl. She has continuously saying that she's oppressed. Yeah. The power center needs to move out of Kolkata in Bengal. Yeah, how? Bengal desperately needs a non-Kolkata CM. Yeah. Aryan Tiger, hierarchy has always been in society. Yes, and some would say that hierarchy has always been in society. That does not mean that hierarchies should exist, right? They would say that yes, it existed because the society was evil back then, and now it should not exist, and that's why Manusmriti is evil. If they disagree with the hierarchy of the Manusmriti and the hierarchy it recommends and propagates, for that they disagree with the Manusmriti, then you can't argue with that person, because for that you'll have to argue on the basis on the value of hierarchies in the first place. Manusmriti chodo. But if someone says that yeah, hierarchies are inevitable, but Manusmriti gives unfair advantage to Brahmins or elder brothers, then you can have a debate with that person. When she was asked how she is pressured, she said it comes through chain and festival. Okay. Now let's see what are the laws on gambling. Thus have been declared in due order to you the rules about the division of property among the sons, and for sons procreated on appointed women. Appointed women mean niyoga. Niyog karna, that's how the word has come about. Now hear from me the laws regarding gambling. Okay. Raja Manu is obviously against all gambling apps now. The king shall banish those gambling with dice and also betting on living things, man or animal, from his realm, because these two vices destroy the kingdoms of the kings. The vices of gambling and betting, these two are thefts openly committed. The king shall always endeavor to repress these two crimes. In this world, when inanimate things are used to stake money, that is called dyutam, gambling. Dyutam is gambling, okay. When inanimate things are used to stake money, or dyutam, which is also known as gambling, but where animate beings are used, know that to be samavaya, betting. Okay, they are making a distinction between gambling and betting. Interesting. Okay, Yeah, this is pretty interesting. I had never thought of that. Because betting is actually gambling on the actions of a living thing, that whether this particular hen or cock will actually end up doing a particular thing or not. That's betting. And gambling is on inanimate objects. It's absolutely based on luck. The king shall corporally punish all those who are engaged in gambling and betting, and also those who allow others to engage in these two crimes. The Shudras who assume the distinctive marks of the twice born also shall be punished by the king. Okay, randomly, I think this is a later interpolation, because randomly, out of the blue, out of context, a certain comment comes about that Shudras who assume the distinctive marks of the Dvija, they shall also be punished by the king. This has nothing to do with gambling. So obviously, this someone thought of acha ye bhi dal dete hain yahan pe, and they put this here. But other than that, I think as far as I can remember, gambling is not that looked down upon in the Arthashastra. So these seem to be pre-Arthashastra, pre-Indian industrialization, because some industrialization did happen in the medieval and in the ancient times, but this is even before that, I think. The king shall instantly banish from his realm those men who are gamblers, the street dancers and singers, the cruel men, those who revile the Vedas, and the brewers and dealers of liquor. Yeah, this is definitely pre-Arthashastra, or maybe even pro-Arthashastra, but Arthashastra definitely disagrees with these things, okay? Kautilya disagrees with this. Kautilya doesn't say that kick out all gamblers, street dancers, singers, etc. There are different laws for street dancers and singers. They have to exist in the society. Those people who are secret thieves, if they stay in the kingdom, they will always harass the king and the good subjects by their forbidden practices. Yes. This vice of gambling has been seen to create great enmity in the past. Therefore, the wise man shall not practice this gambling even for fun. Yeah, this seems to be like a control, a pretty much controlling society, and this seems to be like a medication for a society that had gone out of hand. Because when things go out of hand, people become more controlling. People forget that free speech and all are important, because if with the help of free speech all you propagate is gender queer theory, then people will always obviously end up having a problem with free speech. But I think a similar situation had arrived in India when these things were written, and Arthashastra, in my opinion, therefore is a much better option for governance. Although Manusmriti is more for personal governance, but even then. That man who practices this vice of gambling, either secretly or openly, shall be punished, and the king shall so decide the type of punishment according to his discretion based on the severity of the crime. Those officers appointed to administer the affairs of the state, if they are influenced by money, that is, by the heat of wealth, and they so bake their bread, that is, they take bribes and destroy the business of the suitors, the king shall deprive them of their property. The king shall thus cause to be killed. Okay, the king shall thus cause to be killed those administrators and officers who forge royal edicts, and those who corrupt the ministers and other officials, and those who murder women, infants, and the brahmanas, and also those who join and serve the enemies. This kind of seems all jumbled up here. Randomly out of context cheeze bola ja raha hai yahan pe. These seem to be later interpolations. In whatever suit where a legal decision has been taken, that is, the case has been adjudged and the punishment pronounced according to law, where the judgment shall be executed. There the judgment shall be executed, it shall not be reinvestigated. Yeah, ye to common sense hai. Whatever matter the minister or the judge may settle improperly, that case the king shall re-adjudicate and punish those who did not do proper justice to pay a fine of 1,000 pund. Okay, if the person who was supposed to handle the matter, the minister or the judge, etc., if they don't do their job properly, then the king shall re-adjudicate and punish those people as well, and fine them 1,000 pund, which was the currency of those days. Okay, let's see some comments here. Neener, Pandavas were doing gambling too. Exactly. This is why it seems that Manusmriti was these sections of the Manusmriti are probably medieval in that case, medieval Hindu thought. Of a distorted or a society which is already under a lot of stress and is overreacting. Even Arthashastra does not agree with these things. Aryan Tiger, even Japanese gods are influenced by Indian gods. Okay, influence हुआ कि नहीं है उसमें तो we shall never know, but there were definitely similarities between the gods and goddesses of all pre-Abrahamic societies. Okay, you go to Latin America, you go to Japan, either the far right Hindutva idea is true, that everyone was influenced by Hindu thought in the whole world, or there was a connective tissue, कुछ ना कुछ exchange of ideas हो रहा था पूरे दुनिया में, which united the whole world and which made Sanatan Dharma an actually universal concept. And I think all that went to hell only after Abrahamic civilizations came about. Because everywhere you can see equivalent things of Hindu ideas or Hindu gods and goddesses. Either everyone learned from India, or they simultaneously came up with those ideas and then they came to India, or Indians went to those places for business or for living, etc. And they exchanged their ideas, and everyone in the world agreed upon this one thing, that, oh, you have a god. Oh, they have these characteristics, and yeah, my god seems to have these characteristics. Let's just bungle them up. Let's just mix them up and let's call them a similar god, or give them even more similarity. Achha, let's say I am a god who wears black t-shirt and a white pant. You have a god who wears a t-shirt and a pant, as opposed to nothing or some other clothes. So let's give your god the same characteristics of having a black t-shirt and a white pant. That's how united the entire world used to be before Abrahamic civilizations basically screwed this system. That's my theory. That's my opinion on this. Okay, wherein a kingdom an innocent man is punished, the guilt befalls on the king, and is considered so great as is mentioned in the scriptures, and he also gets as much demerit when he sets free a man who is guilty of an offense. Indeed, the administration of the law is to give proper judgment, that is dharma. Thus, the procedure of deciding of the 18 classes of suits between litigant parties has been declared at length. Thus, the king who duly fulfills his duties according to justice shall seek to gain those territories which he has not gained, and he shall duly protect those land he has not, he is yet to conquer. Okay, the king should. Okay, according to justice, the king shall seek to gain those territories which he has not gained, and jo kingdom gain ho gaya hai, he shall duly protect those lands which he has already conquered. Okay, and remember the gist of Manusmriti and Arthashastra and any Hindu civilization, that when a king conquers another kingdom, the first and foremost duty of that king is to learn the customs of those places and not go around killing people, not in the least for having the wrong faith or wrong gods and goddesses, and definitely not for any other reason. You conquered that kingdom because you want to run that kingdom, not because you want to have a mad murder and genocide festival in that kingdom. Okay, that thing is clear. That thing is unanimous in Manusmriti, Arthashastra, everywhere. And I'll repeat myself as much as I need to. Chanakya says this, Manusmriti says this. The first duty of the king is to go and learn the customs, join in the processions and celebrations of the new kingdom that you have conquered. Don't hate them for having a different culture. That is the first thing that was introduced by Abrahamic civilizations, according to me. And that, what Arthashastra recommends, what Manusmriti recommends, that the king is supposed to protect the new people he has conquered. That idea is I think what led to the global unity, global exchange of ideas, and not hatred based on the kinds of gods they worship, which is why you will see similar gods in every place. Latin America, Japan, India, Persia, Iran, everywhere, similar kinds of gods and goddesses. Zeus, Thor, Indra, everywhere. Okay, Aryan Target is saying, is Armenia the first Hindu Zoroastrian country to be Christianized? I read that there were 2 Hindu kings who were outcasted from India. I don't know about this, but Armenia first Zoroastrian country to be Christianized? I don't know. A lot of kings from those areas are considered Hindu because of the name they took, Dasharatha, but Dasharatha was so popular that they took those names. Okay, Dasharatha or fire worshipper does not mean that they were Hindu. They may be Hindu in some sense of the word, but they were not actually followers of Vedas or anything. Those were just the respectable terms. For example, people who were annexed by Genghis Khan, and when they turned Muslim, or they were Muslims and were annexed by Genghis Khan, they took the surname of Khan as a mark of respect, because that the Khan surname was an aspirational model. So that's why people in Saudi Arabia look down upon Muslims with the surname Khan, because Khan is an annexed is the surname of the colonizer basically. Okay, Rohan Chhatra is saying read book of Vishalla Vampanth which exposed communism. Untouched perspectives. Bunny symbol दिया है. Abhay Agarwal is saying, I think it happened simultaneously. There were surely some cultural exchanges, but elaborated and sophisticated theology was developed only in India. It kept our civilization alive. That is true. Sophisticated theology and philosophizing of past events, wars, etc. उसका तो कोई records कहीं और पे नहीं दिख रहा है. But also you have to give them the, you have to cut other civilizations who did not survive some slack. Maybe they did not survive because of the lack of their physical might, and therefore their texts might have also been destroyed. Or maybe in some corner of Latin America, they maybe have their source texts as well, which proves their greatness, but it's not reaching us because of the colonization and Marxist filters. So leave some option that they might as well have some great texts as well. Binay Singh is saying that's how North India does not have such cultural technique for producing native gods like clothes or utensils or native goods or songs that South India has. Okay, Harsh Ravi Singh, I'll see for some. For now, I have to complete How I Became a Hindu by Sitaram Goel and Ramayana Unraveled by Ami Ganatra. Yeah, How I Became a Hindu to chota book hai, ek evening mein. And Harsh Ravi, do you see people? I always recommend, please, if there's one book you need to read, if you are not a voracious reader, if you get afraid of thick books, please read How I Became a Hindu. It's about 100 pages long. It's a thin book, but for those who have read How I Became a Hindu in this comment section, I'm saying to them, do you see what a beautiful thing, among other things, Sitaram Goel does, is that he leaves you with a hunger for more knowledge. Do you see how many books he recommends? His recommended reading list is huge. Sitaram Goel has read almost every book written by every Western philosopher, from the time of Plato, Aristotle to Kant and modern day philosophers as well. Okay, Binay Singh is saying read my previous comment. Okay, previous comment. When a place is Christianized or Islamized, all spiritual aspects or economic aspects and native culture of producing goods or native techniques gets destroyed. This is definitely true of UP and Bihar, but then you'll have to consider Bengal in that case, because Bengal is almost as Islamized as UP and Bihar, right? But Bengal did end up having some art and culture, and for that I think Bengal's residual economy helped. Economy hoga tabhi art and culture hoga, ye to तय है. So since Bengal has been historically a prosperous place, that's why maybe even the Muslim invaders here did some cultural syncretism, etc., for which culture and production of art existed up until some point, even in Bengal, which was not able to be survived in UP and Bihar, where maybe the economy got even more destroyed. Okay. Second last chapter was really beautiful, yes. Freedom of Expression by Sitaram Goel. हाँ, Sitaram Goel का बाकी कुछ book अभी तक नहीं पढ़ा. Ravi Amin is saying, does anyone know about the Mesopotamian king Ashurbanipal? His name too seems to be a Sanskrit one. Yeah, see, Sanskrit was pretty much in vogue in those regions. So even if they are not Hindu, even if they were not Vedic, they would end up having Vedic titles, Sanskrit titles, because that was the aspirational model. And those Sanskrits are not even modern Sanskrit. Okay, those are very ancient Sanskrit. Which would be an argument in favor of Aryan migration theory, because if Sanskrit was already being spoken here and Pali was being spoken here, then when did those two come together? Or maybe the reverse happened. Pali and Sanskrit were being spoken parallelly, or then Sanskrit was formed and then they went out and propagated Sanskrit. But by then that would have been much later. So who knows? My point is that even if Aryan migration happened, I don't see any cause of shame, because what is the worst thing that Aryan migration did to the country? Okay, they Sanskritized the place. They said that, okay, we have Vedic gods, we have a person called Rudra, you have a Shiva. Okay, he is as great as Brahma and Vishnu. Come together, we will create a society. All you have a god. Yeah, that's just a manifestation of our god. Oh, you have another god. That's just a manifestation of our god. They are never saying that forget your god. They're always saying, oh, you have a nice god, we have also a god who is similar, let's just inculcate all our characteristics of our god into your gods and let's worship them together. If that is the case, then why should we be even ashamed or fearful of the idea of Aryan migration? Okay, I don't care if Aryan migration happened. That does not take away anything from the idea of Hindutva. Engineer is saying, How I Became a Hindu is the very book that convinced me about Hindutva. Yes, I would agree here. That's the same thing that happened with me as well. Sanjeev Sanyal's book Land of Seven Rivers convinced me that yes, India was great, but is Hindutva the way to go? In that case, I was convinced by how I became a Hindu. I used to try to be so-called centrist. Amen. Exactly. Me too. I used to try to be a so-called centrist sometimes, but that book really shook me with the stories. Yeah. Harshavi saying, I'm looking to read his book, A History of Hindu-Christian Encounters. Pado. Okay. The king having duly said, okay, other than that, the point that I was making about Aryan migration being not at all problematic. First example is that your gods became our gods, the Aryan gods. Secondly, even it's not like even tribal or the pre-Vedic cultures of India went to hell. How are you still having them here today then? Okay, today we have tribes and commie representatives of tribe going around and saying, see, this is true pre-Vedic India, this is Aryan. Okay, if that is the case, 3000 साल से ये मरा क्यों नहीं ये culture? इतना evil sanskritization हुआ तो? So you see, even if Aryan migration happened, it does not matter one bit. The king, having duly settled his country, shall build forts according to the rules of the Shastras. This has been delved into in more detail in Arthashastra. And constantly weeding out the thorns from his land, that is, he shall always employ the best efforts to exterminate those who create social disorder and do harm to people in his realm. Okay, now, a small word for Rabindrik Hindutva. Okay, Tagoreist, Rabindranathist Hindutva. Was he inspired from Manusmriti when he said that a soil which only creates thorns, unless that soil is purified, you can't have nice fruits and flowers in that soil? He was talking about our Middle Eastern homies, obviously. So let me just mark this place as Rabindranath Tagore's Hindutva, because Manusmriti is saying the same thing. So Rabindranath obviously had read Manusmriti. Rabindranath's Hindutva mentioned in Manusmriti. Okay. So, the king shall constantly weed out the thorns from his land. That is, he shall always employ the best efforts to exterminate those who create the social disorder and do harm to the people in his realm. This is semi-verbatim what Rabindranath Tagore recommended. The kings who are always eager and engaged to guard their subjects, and by protecting those who live according to the principles of the Aryas, and by constantly removing the thorns, that is, by the extermination of the wicked from his realm, his kingdom, they go to heaven. That is, they get the supreme happiness of enjoying a great kingdom. Okay, Aryan Tiger is saying the Kalasha people still follow some archaic form of Vedic Hinduism. I see. कहाँ पे ये लोग? They worship Yama, right? The Kalashas have high steppy pastoralist ancestry in Indian subcontinent. Yeah. So even if Aryan migration happened, there's no problem. The Kalashas have high steppy pastoralist ancestry in Indian subcontinent. I see. Okay. So Harshavi Singh, I guess still no trace of an Aryan invasion by Koenraad Elst is a good book to learn about AIT, AMT, OIT. And also Koenraad Elst's latest views on that. His views seems to have evolved a little. But invasion तो definitely नहीं हुआ है, because अगर migration हुआ भी है तो इतना बार हुआ है कि उतना अगर इन्वेजन होता तो थोड़ा बहुत आर्कियोलॉजिकल एविडेंस तो मिलता, कल्चरल एविडेंस भी मिलता कि अच्छा इन्वेजन हुआ, लोग मर गए, अच्छा फिर भी चारों ओर देयर गॉड्स आर बीइंग कंसिडर्ड द आर्यन गॉड्स. हाउ इज दैट पॉसिबल? एंड फॉर दैट इतना इन्वेजन हुआ कि 3-4 हज़ार साल से वो कल्चर अनटच्ड रह गया, और यहाँ पे हिंदुइज्म इज अंडर थ्रेट आफ्टर जस्ट 500 or 800 years of Abrahamic faiths living in this country. How is that happening? They are equating Aryans with Abrahamic civilizations, obviously, but they are refusing to criticize Abrahamic civilization on its own. Okay, Abrahamism is bad only when Hinduism is associated, Aryanism is, Vedic Hinduism is associated with Abrahamic civilizations. But if you criticize just Abrahamic civilizations, no, then it's a problem. Tab you are Islamophobic. This is hilarious. The kings who are always eager and engaged to guard their subjects, and by protecting those who live according to the principles of the Aryas, and by constantly removing the thorns, that is, by the extermination of the wicked from his realm, go to heaven. That is, they get the supreme happiness of enjoying a great kingdom. That king who takes his share in kind, that is, receives taxes from his subjects, but does not punish the thieves, the miscreants, etc., sooner his realm witnesses disturbances, that is, revolt by his subjects, and he loses heaven, that is, the happiness of kings. So Manusmriti is recommending and predicting bad things for California, basically. But the king whose realm is well secured by the strength of his army, and his subjects are well protected by the proper administration of justice, and they live without fear, his realm constantly flourishes like the well-watered tree. The king shall discover the two kinds of thieves through the eyes of his spies, that is, those who openly rob the property of others and those who rob in secret. Among them, the open thieves are those who rob in market dealings, that is, by selling commodities, charging higher prices, cheat in quantities and measures, etc. But those who rob in secret are those who hide in forests, etc., and deprive the citizens of their property, dakayats vagara. No, these and the like, these kinds of people like to be the thorns of the land, that is, those who rob and do openly harm to citizens. 1. Uttochacha, those who take bribes. Opadhika, those who threaten others and rob them. Vanchaka, the cheats. Kitava, the gamblers. Mangala Desha Vritta, the sweet-tongued cheat. Bhadra, those who act in disguise of saintly preachers. Okay, see, Bollywood will say that Hinduism is so bad, there are so many saints who pretend to be cheaters, etc. But that's obviously anyone with some power and respect will end up misusing them. There will always be people like that. And Manusmriti even does not shy away from making that that example. That see, who are these people? Bhadra, those who act in disguise of saintly preachers. Okay. For that, you don't have to hate Hinduism altogether. You don't have to say that Hinduism doesn't deserve to survive because you found one cheat of a sadhu somewhere. Because even Manusmriti mentions cheating sadhus. Ikshanike, the fortune tellers. Fortune tellers are frauds and cheats. Okay, this is what Manusmriti says. Asmaya Karina Mahamatra, the officials of high rank who claim excessive amounts for works done. Okay, the officials of high rank who claim excessive amounts for works done. These are the evil bureaucrats. Chikitsaka, the physicians who act improperly. Shilpopacharya Yukta, those who live by art or by showing their proficiency. Nipuna Panyoshita, the cunning harlots, prostitutes who extort money from others. Cunning ones, not the normal ones. Arya Lingina Niguda Charina, Anaryan, the non-Aryans who behave like the Aryas, wearing the marks of the Aryas. So you are obviously not supposed to fake your Janeyu. The king shall employ trustworthy secret spies who shall disguise themselves as someone of the same particular occupations of the miscreants, and they shall instigate them to commit their offense and thus detect their fraud, and the king shall bring them under his control. That is, they shall be brought to answer to justice. Okay, so who are these people? Know that these and the like to be the thorns of the land. So thorns of the land में इनको भी डाल दिया है. Shilpopacharya Yukta, those who live by art or by showing their proficiency. Again, this goes against Arthashastra. Okay, so who knows when this was mentioned? Yet artists are supposed to be looked down upon. Yeah, artists are definitely not brahmanas, but artists are definitely thorns. Okay, that is mentioned in Manusmriti but is opposed in Arthashastra. The king shall employ trustworthy secret spies. Okay, the king shall then proclaim their particular crimes according to the facts and duly initiate legal proceedings against them and sentence them to be punished according to their strength and their crimes. For crimes and okay, the first example where we found that it's in disagreement with the Arthashastra, that seemed to be from the medieval ages, right? Because uske pehle to Mahabharat mein bhi gambling kiya ja raha hai. What if this was also a medieval distortion of Hinduism after Islamic kings? Because mysteriously, this is in line with what Islam recommends, isn't it? Artists are supposed to be arrested. They are thorns in the society. Who says this? And how did that get into Manusmriti and when? Okay, think about that. Okay. And sentence them to be punished according to their strength and their crimes. Okay, see this. They are talking about artists and all other cheats and gamblers. उनके साथ artists को भी घुसा दिया है कि they are supposed to be punished according to their strength and their crimes. This seems to be a medieval interpolation. For crimes and the wickedness of the evil-minded persons wandering secretly on earth, because crimes and wickedness of the evil-minded persons wandering secretly on the earth cannot be restrained except by punishment. वो तो ठीक है, उसमें आर्टिस्ट घुसा दिया, which is why it seems mysteriously medieval sounding, not ancient. 1500 1600s time ka. In order to prevent theft and crimes, the king shall cause to be watched by spies and guarded by stationary and moving the troops of soldiers, these and the like places. Okay, now the following examples. Sabha, assembly houses. Prapa, houses where water is distributed. Apupashala, cakes, food houses. Vesha, Maya, Vikriya, the brothels, taverns and markets. Chatushatha, the crossroads. Okay. Chaitya Vriksha, well-known trees where people assemble. Samaja, festive public places. Prekshanani, places of public shows. Prekshanani. Right. See, this is a contradiction. If there are public shows and prekshanani, how can you at the same time have criminally prosecute artists? Okay. One of these is what Manu might have actually said, and one of this is definitely a later interpolation. And I will say that the existence of prekshanani, which defends the idea of artists, is the original idea, because Arthashastra also says the same thing, that yeah, artists hai to kya hai? Why should they be prosecuted? Arthashastra has not said one word about prosecuting artists, which is said here previously a few moments back. Okay, that is definitely a medieval interpolation, whereas prekshanani is originally the Hindu idea. This is why you should read primary sources. You can form your own opinions and own interpretations based on holistic learning. ये होलिस्टिक लर्निंग नहीं आएगा अगर कोई कॉमी बैठ के यहाँ पे एक कोट उठा के एक पेपर लिख देता है, तो वो पेपर पढ़ के नहीं होगा. ओके, जीर्ण उद्यान अरण्यानी, ओल्ड गार्डन्स एंड फॉरेस्ट्स. कारुका अवेशनानी, शॉप्स ऑफ आर्टिजन्स एंड म्यूजियम्स. ये देखो, शॉप्स ऑफ आर्टिजन्स एंड म्यूजियम होगा और 5 मिनट पहले बोल रहा था कि आर्टिस्ट को जाके मार दो, जेल में डाल दो. ये कैसे हो सकता है? शून्यनी प्लस अगरानी, एम्प्टी हाउसेस. वनानी च उपवनानी, द नेचुरल एंड आर्टिफिशियल गार्डन्स. ये सब का क्या करना है? इन ऑर्डर टू प्रिवेंट थेफ्ट एंड क्राइम्स, द किंग शैल कॉज टू बी वॉच्ड बाय स्पाइज एंड गार्डेड बाय स्टेशनरी एंड मूविंग ट्रूप्स ऑफ सोल्जर्स. ये सब जगह में. ओके, तो ये सब जगह में स्पाइज एंड गार्डेड स्टेशनरी ट्रूप्स रखना है टू लुक फॉर टू प्रिवेंट थेफ्ट एंड क्राइम्स. ओके, और 10 मिनट पहले बोल रहा था कि आर्टिस्ट शुड बी पुट इन जेल. ओके, Aryan Tiger is saying, is greater Aryavarta possible when anyone can follow any god so long they follow the laws of the state? Yes, good idea. But what if their laws, their religious laws are opposed to the state laws? In that case क्या करे? In that case तो Uyghur Muslims वाला काम करना पड़ेगा. Shravya is saying, even from the Tamil in the Kerala industry, they have produced many anti-Hindu movies. Right. Okay, Nainar is saying the artist thing, even if medieval, was not even followed by medieval Hindu kings. Yes, never, never followed. Hindu kings because they still supported arts a lot. Yes, patronization ये तो हम पढ़ते आ रहे हैं बचपन से. This is actually interesting to contemplate what brought such a verse here. Yeah, contemplate karo. Even that's the Upanishad way of learning, that read, contemplate, then execute, and then learn again some more. Abrahamic faiths में contemplation मना है. Contemplate is supposed to be done by only by the priest or the Maulvis. We have the freedom to contemplate. Okay, now अच्छा chapter तो almost खत्म हो गया. देखते हैं कितना है. This is the last big chapter. After this the chapters are again very short. अच्छा अभी हो जाएगा. The king shall detect and destroy them by the help of the thieves and their associates, who know their various occupations and their machinations, and also by means of the former and reformed clever thieves and criminals. The spies, under the pretext of offering feasts or introducing them to holy priests, and on the pretense of show of deeds of valor, shall make them meet the soldiers and thus get arrested. Where those thieves or criminals do come out, and those who suspect the motives of the spies and the reformed thieves, and they live in hidings or are on the run, the king shall cause to attack them by force and shall punish them with their friends, relations, and associates. The righteous king shall not kill the thief if there is no valid proof, that is, he is caught without any booty. However, if he is caught with the stolen goods and the implements used to commit the theft, the king shall punish him without the least hesitation. And whoever in the villages shall knowingly give food, clothes, etc., and utensils for daily use or even shelter to thieves harboring a fugitive, the righteous king shall even punish all of them. Yeah, this is also applicable in modern law. In the kingdom, those who are appointed to guard the provinces or are ordered to help, if they are involved in robberies or if they remain inactive, they shall be speedily punished. ये पुलिस का बात हो रहा है, ठीक है? If the police don't protect you, or if the police are involved in the robberies, then they are supposed to be punished. Okay. Those who on the road, seeing that a village is being looted or the dikes and the bridges are being broken, if they do not run with all their might to chase the looters and rescue the village, they shall be banished from the village with their clothes. That is, not stripped. They will be kicked out with their clothes. Okay. यहाँ पे first responders का बात हो रहा है. You are always supposed to be a first responder. This is your duty to be a first responder. Those who rob the king's treasure and are hostile to him or are engaged in actions against the royal family, and those who conspire with the enemies of the king, shall be punished by various kinds of punishments. Okay. But those robbers who break into houses at night and commit thefts, the king shall cause their hands to be cut off, and shall place them on sharp spikes. The king shall cause 2 fingers of the cut purse to be cut off on his first conviction, on the second conviction to amputate his hands and legs, and on the third he is worthy to be killed. 3 strikes, interesting 3 strikes. पहले strike में एक हाथ काट दिया जाएगा, second strike में हाथ और पैर काट दिया जाएगा, third strike में मार दिया जाएगा. Those who give fire, offer food, arms, and shelter to the thieves, and also those who receive the stolen goods, the king shall punish them like the thieves. He who breaks a dam shall be killed by drowning him in the water or by some other simple mode of capital punishment. Or if he shall repair it, that is, he agrees to make good the damage done, still he shall be punished to pay a fine of the highest sahasam, which was a unit of currency. And he who shall take water from a tank made in ancient times, or even shall cut off the supply of water, he shall be punished to pay a fine of purva, that is first sahasam. He who shall take water from a tank made in ancient times, or even shall cut off supply of water. Acha. But he who is not in distress, that is, he is in good health, drops filth, that is, defecates, on the royal or main road, shall pay a fine of 2 karshapanas, and he shall immediately clean the road, that is, he shall remove the filth. But if a person in urgent necessity, an aged man, a pregnant woman, or even a child, shall be liable to be reprimanded if found guilty of dropping filth, and the place shall be cleaned. That is the settled rule. But if a person in urgent necessity, an aged man, a pregnant woman, or even a child, shall be liable to be reprimanded if found guilty. Okay. This is a confusing shloka. Okay, this seems to be a later interpolation, because see how the sentence is constructed. Okay, but बोला गया. Okay, But if a person, and then they were about to say what's said in Arthashastra, that if an old man is in necessity, that he can't control his bowels, etc., a pregnant woman or a child ends up defecating on the road, they are not supposed to be punished in the Arthashastra. That's how the sentence starts. By the end of the sentence, the translator has to write that they are also liable to be reprimanded if found guilty of dropping filth, and the place shall be cleaned. That is the settled rule. Okay, this definitely seems like a medieval and much later interpolation. This is very obvious. Anything that goes against Arthashastra in the Manusmriti has to be a very way later interpolation. This cannot be the common sense of any ruler in the world. But some people don't have common sense. That's a different issue. But the people who don't have common sense, they are the ones, I think, who interpolated this. All physicians found guilty of making wrong medical treatments to animals shall be fined to pay the first sahasam, and in the case of human beings, they shall be fined the middle sahasa, the different kinds of currency fines. He who destroys a chariot, a flag, and the pole of the flag or an image shall repair all that damage and shall pay a fine of 500 pund. Seems reasonable. Let's check some comments again. It's raining at my place. Nice. Karnataka mein. Harsh Ravi Singh Acha. Oh, I just remembered. I was once reading Immortal India by Amish Tripathi, where he wrote the Manusmriti states that if you cheat your wife, her husband, then they'll get death punishment. But if they are LGBT stuff, then it's fine. Just have shower with your clothes. इतना specific words तो नहीं मिला यहाँ पे, but it seems in line with Manusmriti thinking. Please read my previous comment. अच्छा ये तो हो गया था. Did you mention anything even before that? Hollywood. Oh, Mollawood. Yeah. Previous comment कौन सा विनय? Read my comment please and discuss about it. I'm worried about art and culture. They are the rasa for life. They gave meaning to life. Yes. So which is your comment? Let's see what Binay has said. In long term, culture get digested, and in future you cannot differentiate the dark age culture or retract it from Abrahamized culture. For example, Central and Middle Eastern art and culture. Yes. Long term it gets digested. Yes. Doctrinated woke people is fully equipped with every answer and PR. Yes. When a place is Christianized or Islamized and all spiritual aspects, yeah. When she was asked how much pressure, she said, okay. Yeah, I get it. Okay. Aniket Gautam is saying, what are basis of laws in Greater Aryavarth? That's the pressing question. So, basis of law क्या होगा? Basis of law will have to be a mixture of our current day laws, English common law, जो कि rationality, modernity, reason वाला law, and some Manusmriti, some Hindu law, Arthashastra, etc. Manusmriti, if this is accused of being the sanitized Manusmriti. अगर sanitized Manusmriti में इतना medieval interpolations है, तो सोचो कि क्या how trustable this is, okay? So I think Arthashastra is much more trustable and in much more pristine, preserved form. Maybe because it was preserved in Chennai, where Middle Eastern colonizers did not reach much. Arthashastra was found in a library in Chennai in 1910 or 1904. Okay. Now let's get on with this. For adultering unadulterated commodities, and for tampering with objects which are in good condition, and for improper boring of gems, the fine is the first sahasa. But that man who behaves dishonestly, that is, he who does not give the right measure for the value paid, that is, he cheats his customers, he shall be fined the first of the middle sahasam according to the weight of the offence. The king shall have the prisons located by the wait, let me just mark these places which I think were later interpolations, okay, because I'll have to argue on the basis of these. Okay. Yeah. These seem medieval. Okay. The king shall have the prisons located by the highway, where the miserable handcuffed, disfigured offenders can be seen, and which sight could be a warning to the public. He who destroys the wall or fills up the ditch around a town, and also he who destroys the gate, shall be instantly banished from the kingdom. The king, his ministers, the capital, the realm, the treasury, the army, and the law, and his ally. These are the 7 constituents of a kingdom. Hence, a kingdom is certainly said to be of 7 limbs. This is kind of described in detail in Arthashastra as well. Uska live stream humko resume karna padega. But know that among these 7 constituent parts of the government, the one named before the next is of more importance, and its destruction or loss is greater than the one coming next. इस topic में Chanakya presents these topics, discusses these topics like a research paper, because he gives citations of other rishis and gurus who have come before him, and he says that he says this but I disagree with him on this, he says this but I disagree with him on this, and then forms and justifies his own opinions. Which is why Hinduism is always open for reformation from things that might end up not working in the current scenario, and therefore which things might be considered evil. Nothing is evil when they are formed, essentially, because they were obviously benefiting the society in terms of historical laws, etc., religious laws. But they become evil and irrelevant as time passes and different innovations come about. So in that context, Arthashastra is proof that Hinduism is open to reform, because Chanakya disagrees with 5 or 6 other gigantic rishis and gurus and says that, yeah, he's wrong, my idea is better, and writes his own version. Here in this system of polity, the 7 constituent parts of the kingdom, each one because of its specific qualities and each of them directly connected with the other, are of equal importance, and therefore there is no one more important than the others. But each constituent part is particularly eminent, that is, qualified for the accomplishment of a specific work, and that part of which the work is done is declared to be more important for that object. ये ranking पूरा detail में है अर्थशास्त्र में भी. The king shall constantly ascertain his own strength and that of the enemy by means of secret spies, and by encouraging enthusiasm of the army, and indeed by carrying out various works. Moreover, the king shall gather information about all calamities and vices in the realm of his enemy, and shall also get the knowledge of other great and small disturbances, and thereafter he shall start his operations of war or treaty for peace. Though the king may be tired by repeated failures, certainly even then he shall again and again begin new operations, because fortune favors the man who exerts himself in his undertakings. Nice motivational speech here from Manusmriti. We have plenty of motivational smritis even in the earlier chapters. The ages, that is the Satyuga, Treta, Dvapara, and also the Kali Yuga, all these cycles of times are but the behaviors of the king. This is an interesting interpretation. ये देखो क्या बोल रहा है. The ages, that is the Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and also the Kali Yuga, all these cycles of times are but the behaviors of the king, because by his undertaking a king can establish any of these ages in his realm. Hence the king is said to be the yuga of the age. This interpretation makes perfect scientific sense. ये कहाँ से आ गया अचानक से? This is beautiful. Yuga का interpretation. Did you guys hear this? So Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga are not gigantic amounts of years, millions of years, lakhs of years. They are basically the अच्छे दिन of a king, अच्छे दिन and बुरे दिन. Kali Yuga, okay, this is a nice interpretation here. Kali Yuga is time when the king sleeps, that is, when he is not performing his duties constantly. The Dvapara Yuga is said to be when he is awake, that is, he performs his duties normally, but when he actively undertakes to execute new operations, that period is the Treta Yuga. And when he is consciously ruling his kingdom, providing for the welfare of his subjects and protecting the law, that age is Krita Yuga. This seems to be a very Upanishad kind of thinking, because it's very scientific and practical. This is amazing. I have never heard of this. Had any of you all known this? This is a beautiful interpretation of the yugas. Yeah, Manusmriti कोई पढ़ता नहीं है तो कैसे पता चलेगा? शूद्रा बोलते फिर रहा है. Amazing. Okay. Harsh Ravi is saying, when the misery and injustice will be on peak, when everything will be destroyed, when there will be no hope, someone will rise to bring everything again. Yes, weak times create tough men create good times create weak men again create tough times create strong men. वो तो होगा ही. Krishna Raj is saying, true, someone said something like this once in Jaipur dialogue. I see. Nice. Binay Singh is saying, how does Muslim become supremacist? Because of united might under a threat which they have explained that they are a threat because of our funding of madrasas. How did they propagate these ideas that Hindus are a threat? Because they have so much funding from the government to carry on their madrasas, where they say that Hinduism is a threat. Okay, so when they are so much under threat, they will be united and won't be afraid of dying or going to jail, etc. Because वैसे भी हिंदू मार देगा के तो जाके मैं जेल में जाता हूँ, किसी हिंदू को मार देता हूँ. That's how they think. That's how they become supremacists, because of our funding. So defund sociology, defund all minority institutions. Abhinay Singh is saying that is joke. Which one? I guess it was Vedvir Arya. Yeah, Vedvir Arya has done some work on chronology as well. Gopal Patha in Direct Action Day is biggest example of this. Yes. Vinay Singh, किसको joke बोल दिया? Nina is saying not only Arthashastra, but the fact that there existed 10 to 15 other smritis like Yagyavalkya Smriti, etc. show how kingdoms were were free to use different texts according to their convenience. Yes. Binay Singh is saying Egyptian to Latin get destroyed. Oh yeah. कोई उठेगा तो जरूर, उठ के बचा पाएगा कि नहीं वो अलग बात है. Yeah, that is a good nuance Binay has brought up. सिर्फ उठेगा तब बच जाएगा ऐसा नहीं है. उठेगा कोई definitely, मगर survival is comprises some more other factors as well. So Harshav is saying I was in my philosopher mode, so please don't put too much of logic. Yeah, it's a beautiful sentence. Abhay Agarwal, yeah, Shivaji Maharaj is another example. Yeah, true. Okay, now और ज़्यादा बाकी नहीं है. Oh, just 2 pages to go. Okay. Now Raja Manu writes, the king shall emulate the energetic qualities and actions of the forces of nature. Forces of nature का जो qualities है वो the king should emulate. This is verbatim in Arthashastra as well. That is of Indra, the sun, the wind, of Yama and Varuna, of the moon, the fire and of the earth. Just like Indra, that is that force of nature that pours showers of rain during the 4 months of the year and gives life to the earth, so shall the king shower his grace over and fulfill the wishes of his subjects in his realm. This reminds me of that beautiful chapter in Brahma Puran, discussing the marriage of Parvati and Shiva. What an amazing chapter that was. Those of you who have not listened to it yet, go to my live, or I have separated that section and uploaded it separately as well. You will hear some of the best allegory, imagery of and description of nature you have ever read in your life in that section of Brahma Purana. This reminds me of that. Amazing description of personifications, okay? Each god is bringing a different gift. Each god is coming in a different vimana and joining in the marriage of Parvati and Shiva. Each part of nature is described as a part of the human body. They're saying that the fruits which are hanging from the trees are like the earrings of a woman. The rivers are the curves, the hips of the woman. The mountains are the sun is the beautiful face of a woman. They have even described some part is the breast of the woman, some part is the nipple of a woman. पूरा ऐसे पूरा कश्मीर उत्तराखंड देवभूमि describe कर दिया. Okay, as the sun gradually draws water from the oceans. Okay, water cycle भी describe हो रहा है मनुस्मृति में. Okay, they obviously knew this, and we have seen this example before also, that they saw obviously when the sun is up, things dry up. So water cycle should not have been much of a rocket science. But even then, as the sun gradually draws water from the oceans by its rays during the 8 months of the year, okay, summer, so shall the king draw taxes from his kingdom. That is certainly the vrata. That is certainly the vrata, vow of the sun, which the king shall follow. Okay, libertarians will be pissed off at this. As the wind moves and enters all created beings. Okay, just like the wind moves and enters all created beings in the form of the pranas. Prana, vayu, okay, oxygen. This is interesting. How did they know about this? That you are alive because of your breath. Okay, maybe they realize that when you can't breathe, you die. Yeah. Nice. So, in that same way, the king shall enter into the hearts of his subjects through spies. ये कैसा creepy analogy है. That is indeed the vrata, the office of the wind, that is, of the king. Just like Yama, the power of God which causes death at the appointed time to the friend and the foe equally, that is, to the virtuous and the vicious person, in the same way shall all the subjects be controlled by the king, that is, equally, without any preferential treatment of anyone, without any affirmative action, without any reservation, without any Enemy Properties Act of Bangladesh being used in India. That is, all shall be under the law and dealt with impartial justice. ये कहीं पे भी नहीं है. If someone asks me what's my way, my version of Hindu Rashtra, that is equality for all first and foremost, and drawing from Hindu culture as well. Preferential treatment जिसको भी मिलेगा उसका सत्यानाश हमेशा होते रहेगा. That is indeed the vrata of Yama which the king shall follow. As men are seen caught by the ropes of Varuna, that is, they are caught in the whirlpool of the sea, in the same way, so shall the sinner be caught and incarcerated by the king. That is indeed the vrata of Varuna. Just like men are delighted at the sight of the full moon, in the same way, the subjects shall rejoice and greet the king with joy when he appears before them. That king is said to be following the vrata of the moon. Okay. If a person is a follower of the moon or is like a moon, then they will be rejoiced and celebrated and worshipped in the same way as the moon is worshipped. Endowed with brilliant energy, that is prowess, the king shall always be the destroyer of the criminals and the ministers and officials who are disloyal to the kingdom, which is why I am personally a supporter of Yogi Adityanath, although Rohan Shastra said he has some interesting ideas why he does not support Yogi Adityanath. Mention that. Elaborate on that, Rohan. We'll have a discussion about that because it's almost over, this chapter. That quality of a king is said to be the vrata of fire. Just like the earth supports all created beings equally, in the same way, the king who supports and feeds all his subjects equally. This is indeed maintaining the vrata of Prithvi. And vrata of Prithvi is what I'm talking about. In the vrata of Prithvi, you don't see preferential treatment of any. You are supposed to pull your weight. You are supposed to survive according to your own capability. Just because you are not as strong as an ox or an elephant does not mean an elephant or an ox has to be prevented from reaching their full potential just because you feel sad at that. Okay? That is the difference between equality of opportunity and equality of outcome. Equity is equality of outcome. That is the common nonsense because that's absolutely not in line with how even nature works. Here we are talking about hierarchies. Hierarchies hoga. Hierarchies are inevitable, and prioritization of something or hierarchies does not immediately and automatically mean discrimination or injustice for someone. Okay? You have to have some humility to understand that. And that is what even Hindu equality, Hindu Rashtra law should say and can say based on these kinds of texts. Preferential treatment is against nature, is against Hindu law. The king shall always employ these and other means, and free from lassitude shall restrain the thieves, that is the lawbreakers, in his own realm and in that of other realms. एक मिनट, ये lassitude का मतलब क्या होता है? Let me see in Google. Okay, lassitude, Lassitude. Lassitude means a state of physical or mental weariness, that is lack of energy. Acha, tiredness. The king shall always employ these and other means, and free from tiredness shall restrain the thieves, that is the lawbreakers, in his own realm and in that of other realms. Okay, this is what Yogi Adityanath is doing. This is what California is not doing. The king shall thus engage himself constantly in discharging the royal duties, and he shall indeed ever employ and order all his servants to work for the good of his people. Thus, the eternal law about all the duties of the king has been fully described. Now, in the following order, know about the rules governing the duties of the Vaishyas and the Shudras. Now we will get into some evil things maybe in the next chapter. But for now, Iti Raja Dharmatmako Navamodhyaya, the end of chapter 9 on the subject of Raja Dharma. All is over. Okay, there's a footnote here. Shlokas 326 to 336 of the 9th chapter have been added in the beginning of the 10th chapter. Acha. And next day we will start Atha Dashamodhyaya, duties of the Vaishya. Okay, we'll get to that maybe day after tomorrow or 1 or 2 days later, because I'm missing Brahma Purana a lot. We'll get to Brahma Purana tomorrow probably. Let's see. Okay, let's see if Rohan is here. Okay, Rohan is not here. So, the comments आ गया. Rohan Shatra is saying the day Hindus will unite, that day Congress will wear Janeyu over their coats. Yes, that is true. Harsh is saying actually wanted to say more after the quote, but the space. Also wanted to mention that we have to start taking action in one way or another. बैठे बैठे सोचने से कि सब हो जाएगा stupid. Yeah. Shravya, are we resuming the reading of Brahma Purana? Yes, probably tomorrow only. Vinay Singh, we need to act on our own. You are not living in Muslim majority area. That's why you are dependent on another. Wait for the other. Yes. An entire machinery will be activated to wound the heel with secularism. Yes. I'm actually planning to make a video where I'll talk about some points which every Hindu, especially youth, should do. Practical steps. Yeah. Dada, I said that no religious leader should be PM of India. But if a religious leader is also a great administrator, would you then ignore that person just because he's also a religious leader? What's your opinion on that? Because you can't disagree probably that Yogi is a great administrator, right? Is it his fault that he's also religious? Because he's not a religious leader right now. He, in name only, he is the Mathadipati of the Gorakhnath Math. But he's running the state. Okay. So Abhay is saying Himanta is my first choice because he understands systems and institutions. That is the argument Kushal, Mehra and all will always make, because he knows the system inside out. He has worked in that system. Yogi Adityanath might be a little too forcible with those things. Okay, Harsh is saying today I bought a book on Shivaji Maharaj by Jadunath Sarkar. Looking forward to read it. I did not even know Jadunath Sarkar had a book on Shivaji Maharaj. What the hell? Okay, Binay Singh is saying in Delhi before CA riots, a temple was vandalized and Murti was destroyed. Even some Muslims piss on the Murti. What did police do? Replace it one night so that no one finds it. Yeah, obviously. Okay, Nina is saying I don't think Yogi should leave UP and should stay there at least till 2030 until it is truly in a better place economically at least. That is true, but I think 2029 tak you will see significant changes already. What's the terms like? 2017 to 2021 and no. He won in 2022, right? So he will next win in probably 2027. Okay. So वो term चलेगा 2032 तक. Okay, so it's a different ball game. Yeah, we'll have to changes to our ideas. Krishna Raj is saying just because a guy following his religion doesn't make him religious leader, he doesn't do satsang. Yeah, exactly my point. Okay. Okay, them लिखा है सिर्फ. Prakul Bharat. I can't read Hindi much. Praful Bharat. Yeah, okay. Okay, Binay Singh is saying read my comment. One. Yeah, ऐसा comment पढ़ के मेरे नाम पे fire हो जाएगा. When are we resuming reading of Brahma Puran? Yeah, we need to act on our own. Yes, I read that. Rohan is saying no, Dada. He's only managing a state, not a country. Managing administration nationwide is not same like managing administration of a state. Yes. But then the problem will be that you will never be able to judge a person who you think is probably at least in theory capable of running a country. That's like asking a fresher that you aren't experienced, so we can't hire you. कभी ना कभी किसी को तो ऐसा लाना ही होगा जिसका we are not sure that we are not 100% sure that whether he has actually run a country or not, right? How are you ever going to get such a person who has experience of running the entire country to run the country? तो state से ही उसका resume बनाना है. तो how well does the state does उसके basis पे ही उसको judge करना पड़ेगा. वैसे ही नरेंद्र मोदी भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर बना, वैसे ही हेमंत को भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनना पड़ेगा अगर बना तो, वैसे ही योगी को भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर बनना पड़ेगा. तो इफ वी आर गोइंग टू जज अ पर्सन्स पीएम कैपेबिलिटीज बेस्ड ऑन हिज सीएम कैपेबिलिटीज, then we don't have any problem with Yogi in that context as well. You'll have to argue in some other context why you wouldn't want Yogi to be prime minister. Nina is saying he's managing the biggest and most complex state of India, dude. Even Modi was a state CM before. Yeah, and Gujarat was not in such shambles like UP is today, right? Or you used to be in further more shambles just even 5 years back. So if UP does become a $1 trillion economy, he is definitely a sure shot choice for PM. I think the people are going to support Yogi anyway. It's a question of what BJP will do with him. I think BJP might support Himanta more because BJP is very secular, right? And if Yogi does not give off the secular vibes because of his saffron robes, then I think Yogi has a problem from BJP only. Ashravi is saying, manage my words, my crush Rahul Gandhi will become the PM in 2024 and this is ultimate truth. हाँ ये हो गया तो मेरा चैनल बंद कर दूंगा. Okay, if any more comments are coming, I'll stay online for about 5 or 10 minutes more. This was a huge, gigantic chapter that we ended. We learned a lot about Manusmriti, and we learned a lot about what might be the distortions in the current Manusmriti that we have. A lot of it seems to be random interpolations. Let's see if Rohan is going to elaborate on his point. So I'll stay online for a bit. Let's have this discussion about Yogi Adityanath. Oh, did you guys see the two girls from Kolkata, Barakpur, making fun of the national anthem? I blame the parents in that case. How stupid do you have to be to not know that that's basically illegal? Disrespect तो ठीक है, वो तो moral choice है. But legality का क्या हुआ? Make a video about Mamta's comment. वो comment exactly नहीं मिला. I searched it today. The exact statement you said, I did not find it. You can post the link then in comment section. Yeah. But you are saying that your links are disappearing. So put it in the community tab if you can, under the last polls I did. Or send it to me in Instagram, in DM. Waiting for Yogi Adityanath discussion. Okay, Harshravi Singh, I guess in the last months of 2023, I'll buy this Manusmriti along with Bose by Chandrachur Ghosh. Yeah, वो book भी पढ़ना होगा. That's a very good analysis of Bose's character. वो पढ़ के I'll decide whether I agree with abhijit Iyer Mitra or not, whether he was an evil man for overwatching the torture of the Indian soldiers in the British Army. And they have said that this Manusmriti is without interpolated shlokas. Even then, they have not managed to pick out all interpolated shlokas, because then they would have to justify it in the ways that I did, and which is not going to be very academically sound, because I'm making inferences only. Anumana pramana. Rohan is saying, I understand your point of view. I was pointing towards about his saffron wardrobe. Yeah, that is true. वो vibe. अगर बाई 2029 बहुत देर है ना, अभी 6 साल में इंडिया may have a different vibe, a different opinion of someone with a saffron robe. That's the problem. That's the issue basically. We may not have the same view of a guy with a saffron robe as we have today. Okay, Abhi Agarwal is saying Yogi will have to arm twist the central leadership to become PM like he had to do in UP. It's different for a non-RSS guy. Yes, but RSS guy तो वैसे भी नहीं मिलने वाला है. के अन्नामलाई RSS का नहीं है, एस जयशंकर RSS का नहीं है, हिमंत RSS का नहीं है. तो RSS का तो कोई भी अभी दूर दूर तक नहीं है. But I think Himanta will be preferred by RSS and BJP. Yogi will definitely have to arm twist with the number of MPs he has, and in that case, UP will have the maximum MPs. Rohan Chhatra is saying, don't you think it will send a bad signal if he becomes PM and goes to other countries wearing saffron? No, I don't think so. Because if that is the case, then you are saying that a person cannot be religious and a great administrator at the same time. That should not be the message. The message should be that yes, you can be a devout religious Hindu and wear your religious symbols and at the same time be a great administrator. Because do you think Christian countries में जो first world countries के जो leaders हैं, do you think they don't wear their Christian cross as a necklace? They'd wear a suit boot because that's how their Western culture has now evolved into, okay? But that is, they wear their religious symbols here. So Yogi ka religious symbol hai hi, which is good with his own climate, and it's a religious symbol for because it's a saffron thing. So otherwise we'll have to criticize every religious symbol wearing of every political leader, which we don't do, which does not make sense. Shravya, I mean, anyone watching the what's the AKTK podcast with Abhishek Singh on Dhruv Stambh, Qutub Minar? Okay, no. Krishna Raj is saying, शायद तब तक सैफरन वाले टेररिस्ट बन जाए, शायद तब तक सैफरन वाले टेररिस्ट बन जाए, क्या पता. अभय अग्रवाल is saying, still Yogi is the most popular leader after Modi. Yes, पॉपुलैरिटी में तो योगी का कोई क्वेश्चन ही नहीं है, बट आई डोंट थिंक बीजेपी will want him as PM. Harsh Ravi is saying, Bhaiya, me and Shravya's request, one day do talk about Savarkar ji, please. We were baffled after reading his biography. I'm on volume 2 and she's on volume 1. I have not read that biography, therefore I can't talk about Savarkar. All I know about Savarkar is what I've heard people say about him, like Sanjeev Sanyal and Vikram Sampath. Book पढ़ लेने दो, उसके बाद I'll do it. But I would say I know enough to not criticize him. Okay, because the biggest criticism of Savarkar is that either you can say two are the biggest criticisms of Savarkar. One, that he inspired Godse to go kill Gandhi. I don't think Savarkar was that stupid, and there are enough evidences to show that he had no such conversation with Godse. Secondly, वो जो apology letter, उसमें problem है letter writing format काहे follow किया. ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट में रह के, ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट जब चल रहा है वहाँ पे ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट का जो लेटर राइटिंग फॉर्मेट है लेटर लिखने का, वो फॉलो कर लिया. कितना खराब आदमी है. दैट कैनॉट बी अ आर्ग्यूमेंट अगेंस्ट अ पर्सन. एंड ऑल आई एम सेइंग इज दैट even see, commie arguments are so bad that even if you take into account their argument, even then their larger narrative does not stand. Okay, even if Aryan migration happened, even then I can say that Hinduism is the best thing ever. Even if you say that yes, he was very bad and an absolute weak sissy man for asking for an apology, even then उसके पहले वाला उसका सब काम क्या करूँ, इग्नोर कर दूँ. वो एक apology डाल दिया इसलिए. Just like yesterday we were discussing that apology डाला, so put him in a lesser rank than people like Subhash Bose or Bhagat Singh. So what? I don't have to go around debating that no, he is better than Netaji and Bhagat Singh. So what? Put him in rank 3 or 4. Who cares? So how does that apology even matter? Okay, Harsh Ravi is saying, as Abhijit Chavda said, maybe after Modi there will be Amit Shah and then Yogi as PM. I don't see how Amit Shah is going to be PM. Sriram Shaw is saying, please give the link. Link of what? Link of what? The national anthem ka disrespect wala Kolkata mein. Harsh Ravi is saying, Arey bhaiya, just before this I was watching Prakhar Srivastava's talk on Vaad and he explained how Nehru trapped Savarkar into Gandhi murder. Yeah, Prakhar Srivastav is brilliant, man. Okay, Praful Bharat is saying, unpopular opinion. The man who vehemently condemned Hindu Mahasabha and its leaders as communal fringes, whose crew members and commanders played a significant role in the militarization of the Muslim millat and partition of India, can never be an ideal for the Hindu society. So long as Hindus keep eulogizing secularists like Bose, their fate is sealed. But Bose was a patriot. Yes, Bose was a patriot because at the end of the day, you'll have to admit that Muslims are here to stay. Unless you have a policy where you can kick out Muslims forever and prevent Muslim immigration forever, you'll have to consider Bose as a hero. But I'm saying make up your own ranks. Have Bose in rank 10 or 1, I don't care. But Bose is definitely in the pantheon of great leaders and great people who wanted good of the country. But yes, again, you can't agree with anyone 100%. Name anyone with whom you can agree 100%. Okay? Can you find out even one? If you discard Bose for the things you agree with him on, where is the person with whom you agree on everything? I can't think of any one person on earth with whom I agree on everything. If you can, that's great. Then maybe that person can become your true hero. But most people's things cannot be agreed upon with 100% by most other people. Okay. Krishna is saying, I don't understand what's the point of apology when he is in jail. He can't do anything in jail. It's better to get out of the jail and work for the country even if he has to apologize. Yeah. And secondly, वो apology जो का जो argument है, that's because of the tone of the letter. And that was the basic letter writing format of the day, which is why it was followed by everyone, even people who were not asking to come out of jails for even basic letter writing. That was the format being followed by Gandhi, writing as your humble servant, your humble servant, your humble servant, and Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan, Syed Amir Ali. Everyone used to write in that same tone. वैसे नहीं लेटर लिखोगे तो उठा के कचरे में फेंक देगा, पढ़ेगा ही नहीं लेटर. व्हाट्स द पॉइंट ऑफ राइटिंग अ लेटर सेइंग क्या बे भोसरी वाले, ऐसे ऐसे लेटर शुरू करेगा ब्रिटिश को लिखने के वक्त? कैसे लिखेगा? Abhay Agarwal is saying, but Bose also wanted Hinduism to be a missionary faith. Yes, there are nuances of Bose. You'll have to read Bose fully. The book Bose by Chandrachud Ghosh. And he used to always have the Gita in his pocket. Okay, completely agree with you. Rohan Chhatre is saying, bhai, you can't question Netaji's patriotism just because he criticized Hindu Mahasabha. Yeah, criticizing Hindu Mahasabha is not the same as criticizing Hinduism, because Netaji did not have any qualms with Hinduism as a whole. He had some different ideas about how to run the country. The Indian nation state. Okay. I beg to remain, sir, in your most obedient servant. Yes. Don't abuse, still mar. Yes, I had not abused for 3 days. Finally मुंह से निकल गया. This is an interesting discussion. Let's hash out Bose today, because Abhijit and Mitra really made me think hard on this, and after thinking a lot, I have come to this conclusion again that yes, you can't agree with anyone 100%. And see, there if you can end up having two identities, one as a Hindu and one as an Indian, then you absolutely can't have a problem with both. But if being an Indian and being a Hindu is same, and Hindu Sabha is, if you think Hindu Sabha was the epitome of Hindu unity, then obviously Bose might be a problem for you. But then also notice that what Bose was trying to achieve, he was not going to have preferential treatment for our Islamic brothers, right? Our Middle Eastern homies. Do you think Bose would have agreed with the Waqf board or unlimited funding for madrasas? Do you think Bose would have done that? Okay. On policy issues, okay, Bose had the same Bose's view of Hindu Mahasabha was wrong in the same way that your view, I think, is wrong about Bose, because and it's the same way why Kushal, Mehra, Abhijit and Mitra have the wrong view of Sai Deepak. All these things are of the same strain of thinking, okay, same line of thinking, that what he is saying, I'm getting the vibe that he is putting out is something I disagree with. But on policy issue, I guarantee you that Sai Deepak, Kushal Mehra will have agreement in 95% of things. On policy issue, Hindu Mahasabha and Netaji would have had agreements. On policy issue, I think you would not have much disagreements what Netaji would have done if he was in power. That's what I'm saying, that go beyond the layer of rhetoric and go to analyzing what their policies might have been in terms of law, okay, and civic duties and civic responsibilities and rights. उस टर्म से सोचो कि would you really have a lot of differences with Bose? Okay, Praful Bharat is saying read full comment. He criticized Raja Ram Mohan Roy on that book. Praful Bharat, full comment. Okay, yeah. I don't care and respect patriotism if it comes at the cost of Hindu society. Hindus must have their priorities sorted. Sanatan Dharma is greater than Hindu society, is greater than Indian nation for me. The Commonwealth. Yes, but without the Commonwealth and the Hindu society, there is no Sanatan Dharma in the first place. Because Sanatan Dharma is based on Artha. Artha cannot happen without a Rajya. Okay? And for the Rajya, you need a political system and a state. Harsh Ravi is saying, like my foot, he was a coward. The man who left his body with his own choice. I'll die, but can't accept that he was coward. Those who think Savarkar was a coward are just spitting on their own face. Yes. Krishna Raj is saying, Bhaiya, what do you think about Khudiram Bose? Seriously, he died at the age of 17 for country, yet no one remembers him. This I disagree with. He's pretty popular in West Bengal. This might be the case outside Bengal. Khudiram Bose is hugely popular in Bengal. Rohan Chhatre is saying Netaji used to keep Bhagavad Gita in his pocket. Yes, he is way more Hindu than we can ever be. Only thing is he never showed his religious side. Yeah, that's a vibe thing. Policy mein kya karta wo? Harsh Ravi is saying Savarkar says that Forward Bloc could have collaborated with us, but they are still running after Hindu-Muslim unity Miraj. Yeah, that is the thing Savarkar was right on. See, even Rabindranath would not have agreed with this. Rabindranath was pretty clear on the portions we read that unity nahi hoga. Sri Aurobindo was clear on that. Nahi hoga unity. Okay, Krishna Raj is saying, Harsh bro, I can't comment. I don't know much about Savarkar. Yeah. Inner is saying Bose's Great Escape and Azad Hind Fauj is stuff of legends. Yeah. Sukhasya Moolam Dharma. Dharmasya Moolam Artha. Arthasya Moolam Rajya. Don't ignore Rajya ever. Ron is saying, do you know that Khudiram Bose's death at age 19, I think 17, triggered the nationalism in the mind of 10-year-old Netaji? Oh, I did not know this. This is interesting. Nina is saying we can make a comparison of Bose, Rabindranath and Aurobindo. They all contributed in their own massive ways while having differences. Yes. Aurobindo and Rabindranath's views were different in the sense that Aurobindo never became the overtly secular humanist person that Rabindranath became. Or I have not read those secular humanist things where he actively criticized the Hindu society for having views against Islam or something like that. If those are his secularist views, then obviously I disagree with that. But I don't know if he has said that. Just because someone talks of secular humanism does not make him a secular commie of today. Secular humanism is drawn from Hinduism at the core of it. Rabindranath read Manusmriti. Rabindranath was a scholar of Hindu philosophy. So if he at all spoke of secular humanism, he was saying it as an intellectual descendant of Hinduism, of all Hindu texts, not as something divorced from those Hindu philosophical texts. Okay, always keep that in mind. But Sri Aurobindo never even pretended to be those things. He just went on propagating and analyzing and making more concise ways to propagate Hinduism. That's all. Bose was never as clear and as clear cut on the topic of the mirage of Hindu Muslim unity. Obviously, he never made such comments, I think, which could be termed Hindutva for today. He was pretty much was hellbent on having the Hindu Muslim unity, and Muslims did unite behind him. But I just don't think he would have agreed with the pro-Islamic laws that we have today in India. None of that would happen under Bose. Harshavi is saying, okay bro, I've been reading about Savarkar since September, so I know so much. Yesterday I lectured my uncle on history of Savarkar and he's a retired judge. Nice. Yes, take on these people. All we can do is take on intellectuals because uske alawa jo bhi karenge maar diya jayega. Okay. Robi Thakur was well versed in Sanskrit, Upanishads, Vedas, etc. Yes, everything. I think I read something about Rabindranath on Manusmriti as well. Introduction chapter में examples था कि कौन बड़े बड़े आदमी ने क्या क्या बोला है मनुस्मृति को लेकर. I think I heard something from Rabindranath as well. Let me just check. Okay, Raja Ram Mohan Roy ने ये बोला. Manu was an uncommon man with a profound knowledge of the Vedas and the Shakhas. He is famous for his commandments on Dharma. He is the pioneer of the tradition of the Smriti literature. This is said by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And he also said, whatever law is inconsistent with the code of Manu, which is substance of the Veda, is really inconsistent with the Veda itself and therefore inadmissible. Okay, और सबसे बढ़िया चीज़ तो नीचे ने बोल दिया था. नीचे ने बोला कि बाइबल बंद करो, सिर्फ बैठ के मनुस्मृति पढ़ो. Friedrich Nietzsche, Beyond Nihilism and Without Marx book में लिखा कि how wretched is the New Testament compared to Manu. How foul it smells. Close the Bible and open the code of Manu. The law book of Manu is an incomparably greater intellectual work than the Bible. This is what Nietzsche is saying. Let's see if I find the Rabindranath quote. Sir William Jones. No, I can't find it. I had read somewhere that Rabindranath also said some nice things about Manu, I think. I might be wrong though. Since we are talking on, I want to mention something interesting. Okay. Motilal Nehru said, Savarkar and Hindu Mahasabha is just another coin of Muslim League, so our Sigma Savarkar said, Motilal should change his name to Moti Mia, grow a beard, have half dhoti and half lungi and build both temple and mosque in his house and then he will look perfect icon of Hindu-Muslim unity. Yeah, that's trolling, but that's perfect. Nino is saying Bose was more of a politician, so it made him have such compulsion perhaps. We might never know. That is actually a very good point because administrator ka kaam, politician ka kaam, social worker ka kaam are all different. You have to admit that Sri Aurobindo was a revolutionary, then became a rishi. Rabindranath Tagore was an artist, was a poet, remained a poet. At best, you could call him an important member of the civil society, but he's not not a social worker, nor is he a politician. Neither is Savarkar. Savarkar was a revolutionary, becomes an intellectual. So obviously they will have differences with a man who is forever on the field, doing either politics, building alliances, raising an army. Uska views or in Rishi's ka view, intellectuals ka view cannot be 100% in alignment. Just like today, I have some disagreements with Yogi about eliminating not Yogi but BJP in general, and they have some disagreements with the intellectuals, even the right wing intellectuals, both who are slightly left of BJP and who are slightly right of BJP. उन सब के साथ बीजेपी का भी डिसएग्रीमेंट है. Why? Different professions require different kinds of thinking and different priorities. Okay, for example, you can't blame an administrator, which is the post of the chief minister Yogi Adityanath, for coming down hard on crime. ऐसा चल रहा है कि criminals are coming and surrendering in the police stations, whereas it's the 180 degrees opposite what is being done in California, right? In all Democrat run states and in West Bengal also, where we are saying that no, don't punish criminals because that criminal might have become a criminal for some sad thing that happened to them. That might be the case, but that's not the duty of the administrator. That's not the problem of chief minister to see that किसके जिंदगी में क्या हुआ, किसके ancestor को कितना मार पड़ा था, इसके वजह से आज ये criminal बन गया. His duty is to put criminals behind bars, make a safe state. क्रिमिनल्स ना पैदा हो और लोग क्राइम कम करें, इसका ड्यूटी किस पे है? इसका ड्यूटी सिविल सोसाइटी पे है, आर्टिस्ट पे है, टीचर्स पे है. ओके, दे आर स्क्रूइंग अप देयर जॉब्स एंड देन ब्लेमिंग योगी आदित्यनाथ फॉर कमिंग डाउन harshly on crime. That is not the job of the administrator. In the same way, Netaji will have different priorities from Savarkar, Rabindranath, everyone. And in the same way, Yogi Adityanath's job is not to see whose ancestor was oppressed. He has been given a job right now to clean up the streets of UP, and he's doing that. And you, an intellectual or a social worker, your job is to prevent that people do not become criminals in the first place, and you are failing at that job in UP. Okay, Krishna Raj is saying, did Bose know about Sharia? I think he definitely knew about Sharia because in those times, since Rabindranath knew so much, Savarkar knew so much, Sri Aurobindo knew so much, utna itihas padhaya gaya. They did not grow up with this Rabindranath Thapar history, right? So he definitely knew of Sharia. Krishna Raj is saying, I think he probably would have changed his mind if he knew what is written against other religion. I think he knew. No wonder why Congress hates Savarkar. Yes. Harsh is saying, I'll read The Secret of the Veda by Aurobindo someday. Yes, and I'll resume the live stream after a lot of other books are done of Life Divine. बहुत complex book है, but वो बहुत important book है. That's the most important book of Aurobindo that you can read. पूरा हिंदुइज्म का इथोस का फिलोसॉफी का कॉन्सेप्ट सब क्लियर हो जाएगा वो बुक पढ़ने से, मगर वो बुक का इंग्लिश बहुत कठिन है, वो एक प्रॉब्लम है. हर्ष रवि सिंह, आई वंडर व्हेन एन आइडियल इंडिया विल अपीयर. There can be no such thing as an ideal India, because then you are talking about an equilibrium. Equilibrium is about stagnation. Stagnation can never happen and should not happen. We should always keep evolving towards better and better things. If at all you sometime think in the near future that अब आ गया ideal India, then you are claiming that in that ideal India everyone is happy and no one has any problems, no one has any complaints in their life. That would be the hypothetical ideal utopian India, जो लाने में सिर्फ और भी ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स होगा. इससे अच्छा है कि यू एडमिट दैट यू टेक इन टू अकाउंट दैट येस देयर विल बी नो सोसाइटी एवर विच हैज़ जीरो प्रॉब्लम्स. सो लेट्स जस्ट कीप गेटिंग बेटर एज मच एज पॉसिबल. ये आइडियल वाला चक्कर तो कम्युनिस्ट का है. आइडियल अभी अगर वो कौन, वो किसान नेता है, आप आम आदमी पार्टी का था, वो बहुत कवि जैसा भाव करता है, दाढ़ी वाड़ी है, योगेश्वर दत्त या कुछ नाम है उसका, तो उसको अगर पूछो आइडियल इंडिया क्या है, वो तो यही बोलेगा, आइडियल इंडिया वही है जब हर किसान के पास एक टेस्ला हो. दैट्स आइडियल इंडिया फॉर हिम, विच विल नेवर हैपन. Aniket Gautam is saying Rohan Chatra Yogi is following his religion. According to his sampradaya, he has to wear saffron wardrobe. Why no one had problem with Manmohan Singh? He also wears turban, which shows his religious side. Yes, coloniality. Good, good. Krishna Raj is saying, bro, Harsh, ideal bus Islam के जन्नत में मिलता है. Yes, yes. Okay, Harsh is saying, I'm not saying ideal in that sense, at least pre-colonial times. Yeah. Pre-colonial times kya hoga? I think, yeah, I think we are on the way. We are going to more and more pre-colonial times, but it will never be pre-colonial ever again. And here's why. Because the reality is that Hindu society was not united, right? India नाम का कोई देश तो था नहीं. India नाम का concept था. There was a cultural unity, but that was not conscious. People did not know that we have to be united against these Islamic invaders. They are the outgroup. ये तो किसी के दिमाग में आया नहीं. वो तो अब आ रहा है ना, 2014 के बाद से स्पेशली. अब इंडिया का जो स्टेट बन गया, हिंदुइज्म जो यूनाइटेड हो गया, ऑल जो संप्रदायज एंड सेक्ट्स थे ये सब यूनाइटेड हो गए हैं. अब इसके बाद ये फिर डिसयूनाइटेड होके वो प्री सिविलाइजेशन नहीं होगा, और प्री कॉलोनाइजेशन हिंदू सिविलाइजेशन कभी नहीं होगा. और since that won't happen, those kinds of lifestyles and thinking will never come back. And this is also inevitable, because you see, every time a cultural civilization, a civilizational state is at threat, they become united and form a slightly more homogeneous society, and because they have to stand up to that threat. And this is not something that only Hindus and Hindutva evil people and India is doing. They can argue, the commies can argue that, yeah, there was no India and Hinduism before 1947, तो तुम काहे अब ये बोल रहे हो? And just like I said 10 minutes back, that their criticisms are so stupid that even if you take into account their criticism, even then their larger narrative does not stand, okay? See, what they are criticizing you for doing today is what they are criticizing your ancestors for not doing. They are saying, why are you creating this concept of a Hindu state? And at the same time, they are saying, why weren't the Hindus united and why couldn't they prevent the Islamic invaders? अजीब आदमी है. ये है Karl Marx का thinking. So we'll have to ignore that in the first place. And that always happens. Hindu civilization, what Hindu civilization is doing today, and they are standing up as one country, as one nation, is what was recommended even in 1947. उसको तो two nation theory बोल के भगा दिया. But other than that, that has always happened in other places as well. These ideas are universal. That is what happened in the formation of United States of America. जब United States of America बन रहा था, तब उसके detractors, the people from the British side arguing in their courts and debate places were saying that कहाँ से हुआ ये United States of America? These are just random disunited colonies who were created by the British. तुम लोगों में से अचानक ये nation का idea कहाँ से आ गया? And then they had to say that we are living here for 300 years. As immigrants from England and Ireland and Scotland, and we are going on paying taxes and not using them for our own benefit. We are sending those taxes to England. Taxes देना बंद करेंगे हम, क्योंकि हम ये जो ऑपरेशन का जो एक यूनिटी है उसके बेसिस पे हम यूनाइटेड हो रहे हैं और यूनाइटेड होके एक देश बनाएंगे. That is what we are doing today. That is what the Gauls did when Julius Caesar threatened them. The Gallic civilization, they were called disunited tribes. Okay, that's the area of France and Belgium. Julius Caesar brings his Roman army and says that भागो यहाँ से, अब मैं तुमको उठा लूंगा. And then एक बड़ा ही लंबा और अजीब नाम है एक ट्राइबल लीडर का, गॉलिक एरिया का. वो उठ के बोलता है कि अरे इसको तो अब रोकना होगा. So he goes around spreading the message to all Gallic tribes that no, अब छोड़ो, इंटरनल प्रॉब्लम्स छोड़ो, सिविलाइजेशन स्टेट गया गड्ढे में, यूनाइटेड बनो, रोमन एम्पायर को रोक नहीं पाए वो अलग बात है, बट दैट इज द सेम इथोस दैट वी आर डूइंग टुडे, एंड दैट विल ऑलवेज हैपन. एंड वंस दैट हैपन्स देयर इज नो गोइंग बैक, बिकॉज गोइंग बैक वुड मीन डिसयूनाइटिंग अगेन. Maybe someday if we are so complacent that we will go back to those things, but that going back is not actually great. That going back would mean we are so complacent that we are weak, which is also what is happening to USA today. 1776 में जो unity उनको बनाना पड़ा because they were a threat. Now they are so complacent that they think nothing is a threat. Only biggest threat in my life is patriarchy. So that's why USA का unity पूरा गड्ढे में चला गया है अभी, which is what we can't afford to have anytime soon. Okay, let's see some points. Harsh is saying it is way too complex. Nina is saying Karluddin Muhammad Marx ki jai. Jai. Aniket Gautam, Rohan, I think we should support Hindus who show their religious side. Yeah, and not just their religious side, but also are good at their job. Because otherwise, Madhya Pradesh ka argument bhi lana padega. Madhya Pradesh's chief minister and their state is not run really well. They feed off the prosperity that only Indore creates. Do you think anyone in their mind has Madhya Pradesh's chief minister as a prime minister candidate? Why is that? He's not very good at his job. Harsh Ravi saying, my opinion, I believe your Savarkar's idea was quite better for country. Yeah, uniting everything to form a proper nation, as he talked in his magnum opus, Hindutva. And that is what I'm calling Rabindrik Hindutva. Okay, the Rabindranath idea of Hindutva is same. When he's saying that Sampradaya ko maro goli, we have to be united and prevent the Islamic oppressions. Okay, there will be some concessions made to Sampradayas, and believers of different rituals will have to make some concessions because you have to allot your daily time, right? How much of your daily time can you allot to maintaining your diversity? How much? This is easy for me to say because I'm not a follower of any Sampradaya. I was born and raised in a communist atheist family. So people who are hardcore believers of diversity in the Hindu society and are ardent followers of Sampradayas, different Sampradayas, they will have to make the decision that how much diversity can you really maintain and be united at the same time, be one united singular force. Okay, how much of that can you really do that? If you can do that, great. I have no say in this because I'm not a follower of any particular Sampradaya. I don't even know. That's the decision the actual believers will have to take. Harshavi Singh, by the way, I've saved your article on how I became a Hindu. We'll read it right after completing his books last chapter. Yeah, that's more relevant for Bengalis actually. You'll find that how much fun for a Bengali it is, because I basically get a description of Kolkata which I've never heard before. That's the description of a Kolkata which was vibrant with different kinds of politics, but seen from the eyes of a non-Bengali, which we have never heard obviously. And then he's great friends with a legendary Bengali poet called Tarashankar Bandyopadhyay, Sitaram Goel. Okay. Nina is saying the argument for Indians not being one can be used for even SU. SU kya hai? Okay. And argument for not being one. And even the last research paper we read by Venkat Dhulipala, even there he pointed out that there was no actual Muslim unity. Muslim unity बनाया गया मुस्लिम लीग के हाथों से, फिर वो गड्ढे में भी चला गया 37, 38, 39 में. शिया सुन्नी violence took over the country. पसमानदा अशरफ तो छोड़ ही दो. Then Muslim League again props the idea of Pakistan as the flag bearer of Muslim unity. वो artificially एक तैयार किया गया कि देखो unite बनो तो देश मिलेगा, united नहीं बना तो देश नहीं मिलेगा, हिंदूस के तलवे चाटने पड़ेंगे. That's the threat Jinnah propagated. That's why they became united. Otherwise, there was no unity even among those people. Okay, Harshavi saying it's okay to have Sampradayas, but the unity should be the first priority of everyone. Yeah. Krishnaraj, so your story is like Sitaram Goel, 100%. And Sitaram Goel was a communist until he was 22 or 23 years old, right? I was a communist until I was 27 years old. Nina is saying sub-identities like state and linguistic identities because of them are modern creations. Yeah, linguistic identity is the biggest problem of all. Dividing states based on linguistic criteria is absolutely problematic, and also there's no going back from this as well. So अब यही मानना पड़ेगा कि you have to be proud Bengali, proud Kannada, everything, but also prioritize India above that. The problem with the Bengali pride movement is that they are prioritizing even Bangladeshi Bengalis who are not Bengalis. Even Sir Syed Ahmed Khan didn't consider them Bengalis in the first place. They consider Bengalis and Muslims. He used these two separate words. Harshavi saying, like I remember reading his times with that Christian missionary, and the amount of sweetness was coming from that guy. Even I would have converted to Christianity. Yes. Aniket Gautam. Yeah, that's the distinction J. Sai Deepak even makes. No, that one side is saying that convert or I'll kill you. That side is actually easier to prevent because even someone or the other is going to get pissed off from your side and say that, अरे कितना तलवार उठाएगा, हम भी उठाएंगे तलवार, देखो कितनों को मार सकते हो. But the person who is sweet talking you into converting, उसको कैसे prevent करे? Okay. Aniket Gautam is saying Savarkar idea of Hindutva is more based on history of Hindus rather than universal ideas which can be spread in other parts of world. Yeah. Binay Singh, have you read my comments? अरे तुम कहाँ पे जाते हो बीच बीच में? I have read all your comments. Can you see all your comments? I think I have read all your comments. Binay का last comment क्या है? Yeah. Even in Delhi before CA riots, a temple was vandalized and Murti was destroyed. Even some Muslims is on that Murti. Yeah, I read that comment. Okay, Harshav is saying even when the father suddenly yelled on Sitaram Goel about non-veg and even I was able to feel his scream. Yes, अचानक से वो पलट गया. अरे ये convert का है नहीं हो रहा. Harshavi, Aniket Gautam, yeah, he was an extremely practical person. Yes. Okay guys, so let's end the live stream now. See you tomorrow. Most probably tomorrow, 99% sure. And we'll do Brahma Puran tomorrow. थोड़ा break लेते हैं Manusmriti से. Vinay Singh is saying, yeah, that one I logged. Yeah, I discussed that. Yeah, I read that. I did not discuss it. I just said yes, that is true. Okay guys, thanks a lot for joining in the live stream. In the middle of the night. See you tomorrow or day after. Probably tomorrow only. And good night.